When there's nothing left but the fire in my chest and the air that fills my lungs, I'll hold my tears and trade my ears for a glimpse at kingdom come. On the other side of misery, there's a world we long to see. The strife we share will take us there to relief and sovereignty. Oh, by God, we'll have our home again. By God, we'll have our home. By blood or sweat, we'll get there yet. By God, we'll have our home. In our own towns, we're foreigners now. Our names are spat and cursed. The headline smack of another attack, not the last and not the worst. Oh, my fathers, they look down on me. I wonder what they feel to see their noble sons driven down beneath a coward's heel. Oh, my God, we'll have our home again. By God, we'll have our home. By blood or sweat, we'll get there yet. By God, we'll have our home. The road is dark, the way is lost. My eyes, they strain to see. I struggle forth to find a friend to light the way for me. Oh, brothers, can you hear my voice, or am I all alone? If there's no fire to guide my way, then I will start my own. Oh, my God, we'll have our home again. By God, we'll have our home. By blood or sweat, we'll get there yet. By God, we'll have our home. Oh, by God, we'll have our home again. By God, we'll have our home. By blood or sweat, we'll get there yet. By God, we'll have our home.
Red flag laws and HR666 to officially pathologize heresy to Antiwhitism. We'll be talking about that. Not surprised that they named it thus. College boys attacked as heretics to Antiwhitism at Arizona State University for nothing but a Blue Lives Matter sticker. An epic message in the mailbag as we, in Going Free, continue having victory after victory. Your calls and comments, and for all you adult children watching with your parents or guardians, autumn is here, and before you know it, it will be winter. So I have to ask, how do you get a good price on a sled? You have to bargain. And a good Sunday evening, Monday morning. It is 5 in Washington, D.C., 7 a.m. in Sydney, 10 in London, and midnight in Moscow. And we are going free. It is magnificent to be with all of you. You all look so wonderful this evening. How's everybody doing? We're going to roll right into things. If you have a comment or question that you would like to share over the course of this stream, please make sure you do so. You can do so over at Entropy, which is down in the description below, and you can financially gift there at a cost of 15% to you. You may also comment or ask questions by tagging me in any of the live chats, primarily the YouTube one, as that is one of the monitors off to my right, your left. You may also financially gift over on Odysee, but please, if you do, make it more than $1, because when you make it $1, the fees are nearly 50%, well, rounding up there 40%. So that's darn near half. So anything above $1 over there on Odysee. You also have the option of Cash App, which is in the description as well. And on Cash App, there are no fees to you or to me when you financially gift over on that platform. You may, of course, ask questions, as I was saying, on any of these platforms, primarily DLive, Odysee, and YouTube, and the question widget on Entropy. When you ask or ask questions there or make statements there, they do not disappear unless you or I delete them. A big hello to everybody over there on DLive. I see it looks like Monty is over there, and Jacked, or Jack BF, I guess. Nature's Dude is over there. Hello to all of you and welcome. It's great to see you all over here on Odysee. Looked like last person there was maybe Elronder, and we'll get back to some of those questions. And looks like as we're just rolling out here on this Going Free, we have the great Yiz the Eunuch financially gifting $5 to get this Going Free rolling. Loud and proud. We are live and in drive. She writes, getting us started off quickly tonight with my $5 folk tithe. Glad I can be here tonight with you all. Here's a great stream. Here's to a great stream. Kip, and then a little white emoji heart. God bless you, sister. You are a true champion in service to White Wellbeing, and we love you dearly for everything that you are doing. I look over here to my right, your left, and I see Jonas. She's saying ahoy, ahoy to you, brother. The great Brand Danger is with us. So is one of our newest greats, Franklin Peanut. Wonderful to see you, good brother. Says, I'm listening to an NWG stream while I listen to this NWG stream. I love it. That is how we are going to succeed, ladies and gentlemen. That is how we are going to change our destiny. We're going to recapture it when we begin listening to several streams at once, empowering ourselves with the knowledge of going free and the ability, therefore, to recapture our destiny, getting out into the world and making those changes. That's going to be the way it's going to happen. Franklin's going to be right at the front of that charge. God bless you, brother. So is our great champion. First Last is with us. Wonderful to see you. He says it's also a song, Midnight in Moscow. Maybe I should play that, and then YouTube would immediately ban my channel. What else do we have here? Southern Bloom is with us. Hello to you, sister. Hyperborean Dream. And there is Nathaniel is with us, who is awaiting a crown. And we will do that right now. And we have Nancy Drew is with us. Hello, sister. The great Azimuth Clark as well. So is Rory. And he writes, at least No White Guild called it autumn rather than fall. Perhaps he is English after all. When you made that rhyme. And perhaps you are a rapper, my friend. Actually, I use both. It's like fireflies and lightning bugs. When things have more than one name, I just love it. Jay Link is here, and bass guitarist, and Hyperborean Dream, and the great Full Moon Ancestry. Hello, good brother. Wonderful to see you. We know the great Yiz the Eunuch is with us, Hungarian Spectator, the wonderful gentleman, Biospirit of the West, JK160, and a meme created by that gentleman we'll be sharing a little later. Dr. Dinger and Kingdom of Vinland, and who else do we have here as I scroll backward in time? Brad C is with us. Welcome, dear brother. The Watcher, Roy Danton, as well is with us. Jay is with us. Hello to you and welcome. The great Lycomedies. There's the sweet, dear lady, Carlisle Cockatoo. Hello, sweet sister. Pants is with us. Hello, Machiavellia Socks. Welcome to you. German 7 is here. Welcome. And so is another champion, Slots. And wonderful to see you, good brother. We're going to roll right into this. How's everybody doing? Let me go ahead and refresh over here. And we will spin back around this way if you all. And there's Jilly is with us as well as Ursa Major. Hello, sweet sisters. And Vex. Jessica as well. And Borpheus. Folks are showing up. True champion. She writes, I like your wooden Eindelen. Well, thank you so very much. Bonus points for anybody who can recall what champion, the name of the champion who hand-carved this Eindelen, and extra bonus points if they can remember the type of wood. Donning Armor is with us. Victory. I like that. Great name to you, Victory. Lady Miss Coppertone as well. Wonderful to see you. And if anybody has Again, any questions or comments as we're rolling through this information, make sure you reach out to me or anything going on in your lives, because that's what this is all about. That's why we have these gatherings. Excuse me. You all could go find the news on your own if you wanted to. You all could go dig down and doom dissect all you wanted if that's what you wanted to do with your lives, but you don't. You're here to improve yourselves physically, mentally, spiritually. You're here to improve our world while there's still time to do so. You're here to save our children. And so if you have questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you address them while you're with us so that we can get to them and do that work precisely. Looks like we did not have any anonymous gifters over the course of the previous week. So I will, well, we do, but not there. So I won't be, I will be back at that anonymous, I guess, title a little bit later in the gathering. And we have, let's see. Jill says D.B. Cooper and Cedarwood. No. Good guess, though. Promethean Promulgation says it is White Oak. I think you're right about that. Yes. Did anybody, I don't know. You got to tag me if you have the guess. If you have a guess for who carved this by hand, this magnificent Eindolin, make sure you tag me as we roll in. Although this is not a roll-in, it's a regular going free, as we get into the news and what is being reported by others, because as you know, I am not reporting anything. I am merely reporting what is being reported by others. Let's go ahead and start with this. College students, and this is on Fox News, confront white peers. That's interesting the way they put that. College students confront white peers. Well, does that mean that the peers are college students as well? Or are they peers in age? Are they peers in their music taste? I mean, how are they peers? That's an interesting way to put that together. The smart ones are the ones who are going to college, the ones who are bothering with an education. Those are the ones who confront the others. So college students confront white peers with Police Lives Matter. I'm sorry, what did I say? Blue Lives Matter? I think that was a title on another story about it. Police Lives Matter sticker, and they say to this individual, a young white man, or what appears to be a young white man, I don't know how he identifies, and they charge him with being a heretic to anti-whiteism. Of course, the anti-whites use the anti-white slur racist, the word that has been used to bring down all of Western civilization, a word that we never speak because of that. We are not going to resurrect it. Anybody speaking it is trying to resurrect it, either intentionally or unintentionally, either because they're malice aforethought or because their heads are up their asses. Viral video racks up over 1 million views on Twitter alone. So, of course, the video is going everywhere. 2 white students appearing to be on Arizona State University campus were confronted over a, quote, this typist at Fox. Now, remember all the time that you're told this, and this is Emma Colton over there at Fox. Remember all the time you're told that this is the alternative media is Fox News. Bravo Sierra. They're every bit as anti-white as any of the other media outlets. You might as well look to CNN if you're going to look to Fox for your information, or really anything else you're going to find on the regime's airwaves or running across their cable or what have you. They're not going to allow anything to get to you that isn't part of the anti-white narrative. They'll shut it down. 2 white students appearing, types terribly, Emma, that were confronted over and Emma refers to it as a racist sticker. So talk about revelatory of the author. What more do we need to know? Emma's just taught us everything we need to know about her, that she's an anti-white who potentially calls herself a Republican, but certainly an anti-white who calls herself an employee of Fox News. A sticker on a computer reading, quote, Police Lives Matter, and we're told to leave the area, according to a viral video of the incident. You see, if Emma wasn't anti-white, she would have called the sticker something else, and then she would have said what these anti-white bastards screamed or scurrilously said, rather, I should say, at these young men. I won't be playing the video, even though I have it up, even though I could. I think maybe a tiny bit of it, but I'll think about it as we're here together. You can happen on other channels, they can do it. But, when it comes to those who care about the well-being of white people and who want to put an end to anti-whiteism, the rules are applied a little differently. It reads on, and we're told to leave the area. So these young men were told that they had to leave the area according to a viral video on the incident. Quote, "You are offensive. Police lives matter," says, pukes the anti-white garbage behind the camera. Says a woman, Emma didn't write that. That was just me. I'm sorry. That was just me saying that, speaking truth again. Emma, the anti-white who calls herself a Fox News employee, says a woman, boy, a woman, that's being really generous, who confronts two white male students appearing to study. Now, why is that? Why isn't the race of the person who's making this baseless allegation, why isn't that mentioned? Is she not seen, or can you not tell by her voice? Can you not make an accurate, at least a guess? Does it not matter at all to Fox News? Is the race always going to be excised from the material, never included in the material if it's a non-white person doing anything that could be considered objectionable? Let's read on. It says a woman who confronts two white male students appearing to study in a campus facility in the video, which has more than 1 million views on social media. And this is the video here. I guess it looks like it's on a TikTok first. The camera focuses on the two male students studying at a desk area, or at a desk in an area on campus. The female student says it's a, quote, multicultural space, close quote. Really? Well, I thought that that meant everybody, right? No, dumbasses. It doesn't mean you. And I've been telling you, and many of you have been telling folks out there, it means fewer of you. Diverse means no white people. Diverse means fewer white people. Multiracial means fewer white people. A diversified workforce means fewer white people. That's what it means. That's what you need to be talking about. You don't need to talk about, and you should never focus on them bringing more non-white people. You shouldn't, when you should not complain that they are bringing non-white people into the university. You should complain that white people are being prevented from coming into the university. But Jason, well, they don't actually say somewhere that white people aren't allowed to. No shit. But there's a finite number of desks, isn't there? There's a finite number of space at a university. And so therefore, if you're going to bring in another group, well, somebody's got to be kept out, right? You're not building more buildings for all of these new people. Same thing with jobs. So talk about the white people. Talk about how we are suffering when they are doing this sort of garbage. One of the male students has a sticker on his computer reading "Police Lives Matter." Let's see. Now, it's a multiracial space, which means that you're not supposed to be there. One of the male students has the sticker on his computer that says "Police Lives Matter," while the other student is seen wearing a shirt saying "Did not vote for Biden." How dare they? Well, maybe he had a personal complaint. Maybe he looked into it and found out that he voted for Biden and then wanted to profess to everyone that he didn't vote for Biden. Or maybe he changed his mind. Or maybe he put the wrong shirt on in the morning. Oh, but all that matters is that he's white. That's all that matters. Multiracial space means no white people, idiots. We've got a quote, we've got a "Police Lives Matter" sticker, and we're getting kicked out. Can't do school. Now listen to these guys. This is so, I got to watch some of this. Can I put it up? I don't know. I probably can. Even the audio could be problematic. We've got a "Police Lives Matter." This is the other guy talking. He picks up his phone, starts videotaping. Sticker, and we're getting kicked out. Can't do school. The student wearing the anti-Biden shirt says as he holds up his phone, appearing to also record the confrontation. The other student responds that the sticker is making them feel uncomfortable. You're hurting me. Now get out before we throw the pitchfork into you. So I've been so injured as they're stabbing us. This is the anti-white for you. Making me feel uncomfortable. So you make us, as an anti-white pig, make us feel uncomfortable. That makes us feel uncomfortable. The fact that you've been lying all along about multiracial, saying that it just meant to be included. Everyone would be included. Remember how you got all those white women to participate in this anti-whiteism? You went to them and you said, it just means diverse and multicultural. It just means that everybody's going to be included. We all know that multicultural, we don't use that either. It's multiracial. That's what they want. They don't want white people of different hues of Western civilization, cultural Western civilization. No, they want non-white people. They want white people out of their sight, out of their minds, out of our history books, out of Western civilization. That's what they want. But remember, white women, remember when they came to you and they said, everybody's going to get to play. It's going to be wonderful. And then people like me said, no, idiots, it's not going to be us. Look at everything else they say. Look at everything else they've done in the past. Look at everything else they endeavor to achieve. Look at what they celebrate when they get it. And then all of you said, wringing your hands, said, no, but if we just give them this, everything will be okay. Just surrender more, give up more. And then what happened? Well, now your sons and your grandsons are at the university and they're getting thrown out for what? For being white, for not being anti-white enough. And eventually it won't matter how anti-white you are if you're white, unless you're currently killing yourself. Making me feel uncomfortable. Quote, you're white. Do you understand what a multicultural space is? It means you're not being centered, the student filming tells the white students. Listen to that. I'm going to read that again. You are white. So what could this be about? Oh, what could it be about? What could they be focusing on? Probably some of our ideas. Probably, they're probably focusing on the fact that 17 generations ago, they have some fanciful story that has no basis in reality whatsoever, but maybe some supposedly in some weird half of ideal and familial sort of way had a bad day. And so now they want to complain and they just want to get gibs and things like this out of it. Maybe that's what they're talking. Oh, no. Actually, she starts off saying, you are white. That's the problem. You are white. You got it? All those white women out there? All those white women out there that thought multiracial space will all be included. Yay. No, you're white, dumbass. Do you understand, she goes on, what a multicultural space is? Oh, Jason sure did. Jason did all along. But so many others out there had a hard time understanding. So many of our friends, family, and strangers, of your friends, family, and strangers that you spoke to, they didn't know what a multiracial space was. But we know, and now they're finding out. It means you are not being centered. You are not. Now look at that baffle-gabbing, word syrupy nonsense to say it means you are not welcome. You're not being centered. You're not being centered. It means you're not welcome. It means get out. And essentially that's what they say. The students filming tell the white students, white's not culture, the student in the anti-Biden shirt says. And then actually we have a question about that I'm going to address over the course of this gathering. White's not a culture, he says to these females. And their response is, let's see. White is not a culture, she responds. White is not, emphatically. White is not a culture. You have no culture. You don't exist. You see, maybe ladies out there, maybe not the ladies here, of course, the ones beyond. Maybe when they were saying that you didn't exist, that was kind of a cue. It was kind of a cue that when they said multicultural, it didn't mean everybody. It didn't mean everybody was going to be able to participate. Don't get verklempt on me now. Don't start tearing up over how you've found yourself up shit creek, and there is no paddle because you dropped it a long, long time ago. No crying, no crying. Just apologize to us, and then get along the spear wall with the rest of us to defend Western kind and Western civilization. She says emphatically, the anti-white scum, white is not a culture. Say it again. Say it again to the camera. You think whiteness is a culture? And let me pause there and say, do you notice the use of the word whiteness? Another one that sane people don't use who care about white well-being. You never use the word whiteness. We don't produce whiteness unless you have a venereal disease. You produce Western culture if you're white. We are Western kind. What we make, what we produce, what we are is not whiteness. Whiteness is the actionable definition. It's just like the actionable definition of the word racist. All that matters. Whiteness is several things. That the white race is all evil and all oppressors. That the white race doesn't exist at the same time. And that whiteness is oppression and suppression and exploitation. So when you say that you are for whiteness, you're saying that you are for the white race not existing. You are for exploitation, suppression, oppression, etc. Dumbasses. Now, if you've been doing it by accident, you're not to be blamed. I'll just pat your head. It's okay. It's okay. Come on. Don't be dumb. Stop using their words, all right? You can use concepts that empower you like us, and you can have the success. The anti-white goes on. You think whiteness is a culture? No, I think it's the VD that you probably caught this morning during your gangbang. ASU told Fox News later on Friday that it was aware of the video. This is the violence, the anti-whites go on. This is the violence that ASU does, and this is the type of people that they protect. So ASU, Arizona State University, who has been actively discriminating against white people in order to bring non-white people, in order to victimize whites. That's really what it is. And the tool to victimize white people are non-white people. And it's always anti-whites of all varieties, white, non-white, etc. ASU has been doing that for a long, bragging about it. And the anti-whites, ever to be relied upon to have a complaint, are still complaining. They're still complaining. This is the violence that they do. The dean of students' office is aware of the disagreement. Now, I want to jump back to this, actually, what this anti-white streetwalker has to say at this university. Why do they even make them go to university? They just need to give them their whatever degree their parents want them to have with their birth certificates. Okay, this white man thinks he can take up our space. She crows. She howls like a dog in the junkyard. And this is why we need a multicultural space. There's the whole of ASU, the whole of the city there, the whole of the state, Arizona, the whole of the country. That's the multicultural space that they need. All those white people out there, both there are a few males in that bunch of females as well, although we'll just say females of both sexes. I guess maybe that's what we should say. But you need to open your eyes. I'm sick and tired of seeing you folks out there who care about what we create, want to preserve what we do and what we create and what we build. The ideas of law and order, the philosophy of Western civilization, everything. You care about that. You want to preserve it. And then you immediately gut the baby of Western kind on the altar of all that we have built. You absolute backward dumbasses. How much evidence do you need? This white man, he thinks he can take up our space because they think they can get away with this shit. The anti-white scumbag continues, appearing to refer to Arizona State University. I would say so. I mean, what else do you think, Emma? Maybe she goes by Emma, but the name that her hippie parents had given her was Enema, and that's how she ended up anti-white and typing for Fox. The Dean of Students' office is aware of the disagreement, and a handful of students that was captured in video circulated on social media. The Dean of Students' office will be guillotining the white student. No, it actually, Enema writes on. The Dean of Students will be discussing it with all involved, and the white students will be punished accordingly. ASU is a community of more than 100,000 people from all 50 states and more than 150 countries. Now get this. Does ASU, instead of saying that these anti-white female dirtbags were transgressing some sort of policy. Maybe they will be suspended. Maybe they will suffer for this sort of violent. And rest assured, I'm going to call it violence because they call it violence. When we speak, they call it violence. So when they speak, it's violence. When they speak, you're not talking to a conservative here. You're talking to somebody who's kicking your asses. So when you speak, it's violence, pigs. So here you have these anti-white pigs committing violence, and the dean of students should be saying, you know what, we're going to take these pigs out in front of everyone, and we're going to publicly shame them. You remember when that effete Air Force general brought the entire air base out to hear him complain about this slurs that were written on some door, only to find out exactly as I said in my 2 videos about that later on, that it was indeed a hate hoax. Remember that? Well, I think that's what these anti-white students need. No, instead, the dean, now is the dean I guess probably a male of or female of one of the sexes, goes on here to speak to the baseless allegations of the squealing anti-white pigs. And he says, or she says, ASU is a community of 100,000 people from all 50 states and more than 150 countries, and they're all non-white, I can assure you. Differences of opinion are part of the university experience. Unless you have heretical positions to anti-whiteism, then you are going to be banned from the university. You'll be kicked out. You'll not be able to participate in any of your alumni activities. You'll be thrown out of that. And she goes on, the university expects respectful dialogue between students in all engagements. This is the ASU spokesperson saying, actually, it wasn't the dean of students. This is the ASU spokes. So the mouth of Sauron. The mouth of Sauron came out to speak to the anti-white media. The students filming, and we're at the half-hour mark, students filming go on to say that the majority of faculty on campus, you all, many of you have gone to university, or you know somebody, far more people went to university than should have. But if you haven't, you know somebody who has. Everyone knows that all universities, but of course, check with CNN, all universities are anti-white as all hell, especially the ones that cost the most money. They couldn't be more anti-white. I mean, that's why we have professors like Professor Hooked on Crack over at Duquesne in Pennsylvania. That's the norm. That's not the exception. He's the norm. I mean, for God's sakes, look at the president's son. This is the norm, is crack pipe smoking anti-whites given positions that they don't deserve. Oh, yeah, I put it together like that. You'll be able to back into it. Watch the clip over and over. If you're an anti-white, it'll take at least that long. Or if you've been exposed to going free and you still haven't done it yet, IQ tests. You're not bright enough. So here we go. The students filming go on to say that the majority of faculty on campus centers. That means they haven't gotten rid of all white concern, of all white mention. They haven't white erased everything yet. Centering it means mentioning it at all. The whites, they center the whites. They prioritize. So all they do is talk about the white students. They center them. And then being in the multicultural space is peak white cis male bullshit. Squeals the pig in the video. Another student is heard saying, quote, we're asking you to leave if you have any consideration for people of color. So again, to the white women out there who are still stuck in Conservativeville, who are still stuck in Mayberry, who still think that we could just get along with everybody who hates us. No, we can't get along with anti-whites of any race. Zero. We're not putting up with them at all. We don't get along with them at all. We're going to talk about the MP in a little bit, about this colorblind society, Bravo Sierra. But you can say, and I'll just mention now, we'll come back to it. You could say that you're colorblind when it comes to victimizing people, because you shouldn't be victimizing people for any reason, right? But you damn well better be able to see color when you're the race that they're victimizing, dumbass. Little tired of these people, if you can tell. The anti-white pigs go on, you're racist. Your sticker's racist because police, that's a job. The future of the United States, folks. I'm sure she'll be a judge, Supreme Court nominee in the not too distant future. You can choose to be a police officer, so their lives don't matter. I didn't choose to. Oh, so she's black. So she's anti-white and black. I didn't choose to be black. No. Sorry for the vocabulary. The crawler's not on the screen. I'm doing my best, folks. The worst ones won't be used. She says she's black. She didn't choose to be black. Well, you know what? I didn't choose to be white. Bitch. Anti-white. I didn't choose to be white. So back off. Quote, you can choose to be a cop. So, I mean, this is the kind of illogic and lack of reasoning. This is these universities, I cannot believe that we built these things. And now, yes, we built them. Does that hurt your feelings, anti-whites out there? We built them. Go ahead and look it up. Go ahead and look at those photographs. Yeah. We built them. We paid for them. You can choose to be a cop. You can choose to kill people with a badge. So right to the anti-white narrative. And you're protecting that shit, she goes on, which means that you are racist. So what's the inverse that this anti-white pig is saying? What's the inverse? You have to victimize police officers. Guess what we're going to see here in the very next story we're going to go right to? Number one, the police, if they're white, have to be victimized. And it is in a bill right now. Right now, for all you ladies out there of both sexes who are, gripping your little pussies tightly, and it is squealing and clawing you and trying to get away from you, the poor little pussy cat. They are coming for you. This is not just the words of some drunk, hooked on phonics, backward dumbass anti-white. No, this is all the way. It is all of those hooked on phonics, backwards, dumbass anti-whites, all the way up to the White House. And boy, does he represent them. Talk about the hood ornament. That's all he's good for anymore, is to ride out front and to be the face of stupidity. So you'll see victimized police officers. Because if you're not victimizing police officers, if they're white, then you are a heretic to anti-whiteism. The word they use is racist, right? By the way, in all of these laws, I mean, these people had the conversation this week where they're these very simple people. They're like Humpty Dumpty. And, was it Lewis Carroll's story where Humpty Dumpty's trying to say, well, the word means anything I choose it to mean. No, it doesn't. It means what the masses use it to mean. It means what it means in the law. It means what it means in corporate code, national and international. Stop pointing to some dictionaries and saying that you are obstinately, like Humpty Dumpty, going to stick with what it says in the dictionary. You are using a concept that destroyed Western civilization. So you are a heretic to anti-whiteism. And what does being a heretic to anti-whiteism also? You got to victimize police officers if they're white. And what now are we going to talk about in a minute? HR666 from Beelzebub himself. What are they going to do with this word racism? And how is that connected to red flag laws? Well, you're going to find out. You're going to find out what happens to young men, white men like this, and your white ass, whether you are predominantly of Southern European extraction, Eastern European extraction, Western European extraction, Northern European extraction. It doesn't matter. They are coming for you if you are white, period. If you are a Westman, period. They're coming for you. And what does that mean? Well, these young men have incurred the wrath of a herd of swine, of anti-white swine. And they come up squealing that they are racist. Well, in the very, very near future, that's going to be punishable as a mental disease. And they will have, the government, anti-whites, will have the ability to take away your right to self-defense forever. And this will be the grounds, because he had a sticker that said that police lives matter as well. Now, what would a conservative do here? A conservative would say, yeah, I am not talking about any particular races. You know, maybe in down deep, I'm talking about just non-white officers. I mean, that's the actual, by the way, that's the actual voice that's in a typical like conservative head, typical MAGA head, a typical patriot head. That's the actual voice that's circulating in there. So that's why those very dumb things. But you don't have to. You can go free. You can come away from such backward Mayberry-ish stupidity. You don't have to be functionally comatose anymore. You can make a difference in the world. You can prevent young men like this from ending up in a mental institution, losing their right to self-defense, having all their tools of self-defense taken away from them. And do you think it'll stop at a firearm? Oh, you're so naive and cute. You're so cute when you're naive. Okay, and the other thing here, and I have to say this, if you all get a chance to read this or see this video, please watch it. Because if you've ever wondered, if you're new, you've ever wondered, should we use anti-white? Should we use the phrase anti-white and the concepts anti-white and anti-whiteism? I want you to look at these young men and watch how they are a deer in headlights. Why? Because they've been brought up in the anti-white narrative just like you have. So has their attackers, or have their attackers been brought up in the anti-white narrative. And the only thing that they can think of is, can't do school. Guess I can't do school. I mean, that was dumb as all get out. He was going to say something, but that was dumb. Why? Because he has not heard you say anti-white yet. He has not heard you say anti-whiteism yet. That's why. Now, what would have happened if these two young men had been sitting there quietly doing their schoolwork so that they could, I don't know, get a job that's well below what they're trained for, work their asses off for nothing, because they're not going to be diversity hired. They'll be diversity fired. They're not going to get the promotions. They're not going to get the raises. They're going to be since they're white males, they're going to be mistreated everywhere they go. It's going to be legal to mistreat them. The list just goes on and on. They're going to end up being cogs in a machine, being fleeced for the rest of their lives until we recapture our destiny. And so they are sitting there doing their homework so that is what they can achieve with life. And here come the anti-white swine. The herd comes galloping up, VD in abundance. And all these two young men can do is stare. The one young man, he like looks at his back of his lap. He's like, oh. He's got this just great face. I mean, just so typical. Just tongue hanging out, mouth open. What did I do wrong? And looking at this, I feel bad for the guy. I empathize with him. But this is where everyone, if you're white, you've been at some point until you're going free. Until you're going free. Now, if they had been going free, they would have said, go to hell, anti-white. Tell me why you're so anti-white. Why do you want white police officers harmed? Why do you want white police officers sent to jail when they didn't do a crime that deserves to be for them to be imprisoned? Why do you want them to be held to different standards? Why are you so goddamn anti-white, bitch? That's how they should have responded. And if our people had the concepts that we have in going free 50 years ago, 70 years ago, we wouldn't be where we are today. Because when the anti-whites marched in with their pickets and with their nonsense, the white people would have had a moral leg to stand on and would have shut them down. The white people and the non-white people who are sick of this and who can see the writing on the walls of what it would do all the way back then to Western civilization. And now you no longer have to see the writing on the walls. I mean, the toilets have overflown and the feces is everywhere. Let's get on to our next. We have here, ladies and gentlemen, the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, which is in the process of being voted on and championed by Democrats and Republicans, and they have snuck a little tidbit here into this. Let's see. Do I have? Maybe I don't have. I thought I might have had. Is this it? Is this the story that? Yes. This is at Gateway Pundit. The war on the Second Amendment continues, writes a person who hasn't listened to me or all of you yet. It is the war on the right to self-defense. This time, and then look at this idiot. Gun control was slipped. It's not gun. The anti-whites are attempting to take away the right to self-defense in the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act. One provision in the bill allows for military courts to confiscate guns from ex-members of the military. The military court would be able to issue a protective order which would make the owning of a firearm by an ex-military member illegal. A provision in the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act would allow military courts to issue protective orders that include red flag gun confiscation, according to more than the 1,300-page bill. In the legislation, those beholden to the United States Code of Military Justice could be issued a, quote, military court protective order by a military judge or magistrate, which would make, quote, possessing, receiving, or otherwise accessing a firearm illegal. I have some of this verbiage here as well. Military court protective order issued. Maybe it says it here too. Yeah, it does. Protective order issue on an ex parte basis. That's Latin for meaning that someone else can say, "Oh, this person, I'm worried," and then they go and they take away your right to self-defense, and then they find out later whether or not it was just to do so. And then how many of you trust out there the government to give you your tools of self-defense back? How many of you trust them? Okay, let's see. A military court protective order issued on an ex parte basis shall restrain a person from possessing, receiving, or otherwise accessing a firearm, and a military court protective order issued after the person to be subject to the order has received notice and opportunity to be heard on the order shall restrain such person from possessing, receiving, or otherwise accessing a firearm in accordance with Section 922 of Title 18 SEC 529. And we move on. Additionally, military court protective orders on an emergency basis are exempted from providing the recipient with the standard, quote, right to due process. Instead, quote, notice and opportunity to be heard must only be provided. How do you like that? We'll hear you. We'll hear you at some point and in some capacity. We'll hear you. But for now, we're just going to take away your right to self-defense. Says here, a protective order on an emergency basis. Okay, is that the same verbiage? Okay, so yeah, no due process is needed. All they have to do is give you a notice that they will hear you at some point. We're just going to ambush you. We're just going to SWAT your house. And on what basis are they going to be doing this sort of thing? Here's the big fear, though, folks. The fear is that the military courts the military courts will be applied to anyone working on military bases or associated with military personnel or military bases on the need of this verbiage, safety for all. So even those not actually enlisted can, in theory, be reported to the military legal system or police to have their weapons, to have their tools of self-defense seized. This is the concern about those looking at the literature, and you can look at it for yourself. And of course, the talking heads on CNN are the ones that you really should just listen to in the final analysis. A Vanderbilt legal paper examines a 2007 law that would open the door to applying military law to those who are not technically in the military. So effectively, anti-whites, the concern here is that anti-whites in the government, in the military, can use the military courts to circumvent your right of due process as a citizen of the United States of America and take away your right to self-defense. For now, in the verbiage saying that all we have to do is say that we'll hear you at some point. We'll take up the issue at some point. Once it's done, folks, the precedent is established, and then that's how the law obviously will work moving forward. Now, the White House is pushing for these, and I'll read this in just a moment, pushing the House and Senate to pass, let's see, what is it? It is the Extreme Risk Protection Order and Violence Prevention Act of 2021. And it was written by a Republican, Rubio, I think is what it said. And so members of both parties are supporting this. Now you have this passage of HR666, which also has support from both parties. And you say, well, what exactly, how does that puzzle piece fit in there exactly? Well, this is how it fits in. Because with HR666, they will pathologize heresy to Antiwhitism. And there will be a department within the CDC that will monitor, that will investigate, and will work with the Justice Department. So how will they be working? How will the CDC, and I don't believe they have had any connection like this. I'm not sure. Check it out for yourselves. But I don't recall that being the case, them having such a working relationship with the Department of Justice, the CDC. How will that exactly play out? So will it play out in the sense that maybe these two young white guys over there at Arizona State, maybe these anti-white pigs get on the phone and squeal to anti-whites in the government, and then anti-whites in this department at CDC, they decide, well, we're going to have to investigate these young men until we know whether or not they are mentally ill with heresy to Antiwhitism, which of course anti-whites call racism. And I wonder, isn't this funny? Isn't this funny? You know what they'll do is for like every 5 million white people that they determine are insane with heresy to Antiwhitism or racism, they'll grab one non-white person, and then all of these fence sitters who are in the midst of being impaled and in need of a colonoscopy, they will be able to say, see, it's not just about white people. They got one non-white person. That's how dumb they are. And that's how much of a liar they are. So will they then be sending them out? But so until then, let's make sure we take away their right to self-defense, any tool that they have for self-defense. And then what will it entail? Well, remember, in other bills, they're talking about medications, treatments for heresy to Antiwhitism. This is exactly as we predicted. A CDC moving to pathologize heresy to Antiwhitism in this bill, 666. A working relationship in this respect with the Department of Justice. The anti-whites sneaking in the red flag laws into the NDAA, and then the White House pushing the states to pass the Extreme Risk Protection Order and Violence Prevention Act of 2021, which, let me tell you, it just gets so much better for white males. And let me see. Really quickly, though, I'll say here about this Anti-Racism in Public Health Act of 2021. This bill establishes within the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, a national center on anti-whitism and health. Among other activities, the new center must declare racism a public health crisis, collect and analyze data, and administer research and grant programs to address racism and its impact on health and well-being. Now let's get into quickly, since we're coming up to the top of the hour, and we're going to get to you all as quickly as we possibly can. I'm going to take a look at the Extreme Risk Prevention Order and Violence Prevention Act of 2021. This bill establishes a new grant program to help states and Indian tribes implement extreme risk protection order laws. Extreme risk protection order laws, or red flag laws, generally allow certain individuals, example, law enforcement officers or family members, to petition a court for a temporary order that temporary, I'm sure, they'll show back up at your house with a big bow on all of your tools for self-defense when they find out that they were actually wrong. Right? I'm sure that's what they'll do to folks who are not anti-white enough. To petition the court for a temporary order that prohibits an at-risk individual from purchasing and possessing firearms. Yeah, you can come on tonight, Baldor, when we come back, good brother, from our brief break. The bill also expands the categories of persons who are prohibited from receiving, possessing, shipping, or transporting a firearm or ammunition. Specifically, it adds a new category of prohibited persons. Persons who are subject to extreme risk protection orders. So this, folks, is the part that is so dangerous for white males. I mean, the non-white males that are caught up in this are collateral damage. So you have to be able to identify reality. And the reality here is that a girlfriend, a jilted girlfriend, how many times, and you women out there, you know this is true. Either you did it and you're ashamed of it and you'll admit it, maybe you won't admit it, or as a woman, you know how often women do this. But when they get pissed off, they get vindictive as all hell. Not every woman, of course. There are great women, and we have many of them here. So not every woman, but we're talking about generally. They get vindictive as all hell. And how many women either have done or know a woman in their lives? I mean, it would be every hand, right? That decided to lie her ass off about the guy, even to the point of dragging him through courts, through arrest, bringing police, involving law enforcement in their lives because she got pissed off because he didn't want to do what she wanted him to. He didn't want to obey like white men have to do in Western civilization, because socially women have the upper hand, legally women have the upper hand, and when a white man doesn't behave, well, then she shows her power by calling on other white men. And then they come storming in with the lights going and they say, ma'am, what happened? Let me just tell you a bunch of lies. Well, now what will happen to the white men is that all a woman needs to do, no proof whatsoever, according to this. I mean, read it for yourselves and make sure that it reads exactly as I'm saying. All she has to do is make the accusation that she's been physically assaulted, and the police take his right to self-defense away. They storm his house and they take away his tools of self-defense on nothing more than an accusation. No proof needed. And then they'll find out later whether or not it was true or not. And I'm sure you'll get your tools of self-defense back. In fact, wasn't it just this past year that a woman lied about being attacked by her boyfriend? Law enforcement showed up to take his tools of self-defense away, and there was an altercation, and they killed him. Didn't that happen this year, or do I have that wrong? Let's consult CNN. Let's bring on a CNN correspondent. You know, there's no body from like the sternum down on almost all of them. Not all of them, because you can't say all of anything. But many of them have no body. It's just guts from there on. No genitals. They get rid of those because that just gets in the way of this new world, anti-white world that they're building. But remember that, folks. What do we do about this? What do we do about these stories? You know already. You've got to go out to your friends, family, and strangers. You've got to use the concepts that we employ in Going Free to awaken their minds, to free them so that they can go free with us of the anti-white narrative. They can go free. They can become a better, whatever they are, guy, gal, young man, young woman, physically, mentally, spiritually. You use the 5 key concepts, even if you're not introducing them, to go free. And that in most cases is going to be what it is. Anti-white, anti-whiteism, anti-white narrative, Western kind, white erasure. God's sakes, you've got to do it before it's too late. We have already been defeated by the anti-whites. Now they are busily taking away every route to the recapture of our destiny. You better use them. Every route we have while we have them, because before you know it, it'll be lights out.
Control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Get along and walk beside the road. And all my needs were not a wonder to load. Show another way. I knew not what to say. You took me off the road to know the way. The girl from Galway Bay. Took me out of time to know today, girl from Galway Bay. Open fields and skies have been my only home. Worn out boots and on my back was all I owned. The last town had me framed. Next will be the same. You took me off the road to know the way, the girl from Galway Bay. You took me out of time to know today, the girl from Galway Bay. Turn to me and let me see everything. Seeing you now lets me give you something. See each other giving at everything. Now nothing to Galway Bay. You took me out of time to know today, girl from Galway Bay.
All right, we are back, and very quickly I'm going to go to the lesson of the day, the Go Free lesson of the day, and then we will call Baldur, and we will have a brief call with him going over a couple more words, the great champion over there in Iceland. But before I do that, I'm going to take a quick look at what you all are saying in the live chat over on YouTube. I see the great Natarific is with us. Wonderful to see you, brother. So is Bros and Bros and Aryan Coconuts and Crystal Quasar. Hello to all of you. Heiling is here, stronger than evil. Wonderful to see you. And Rapid Dog. What do you all think about the stories that I was just reading? Do you have any predictions of your own? Do you think you have another way to a better way to recapture our destiny than what is working worldwide and nothing like it ever before? Jay Link says, not a family episode. Yeah, I didn't quite get. You might have some explaining to do. Aryan Coconut said something that ended up getting deleted. You have to specify that when you mean fight, you're talking metaphorically, and that we take our defense in the form of this concept, this group of concepts, this spectrum of concepts that we use in service to white well-being that works so well. There will be no voting or violence that will reclaim our destiny. That's long gone. That is so long gone that it's beyond the ability of the rear view mirror to pick up. So art acrobats, and you probably, and I'm assuming that you meant metaphorically with our concepts and not physical fighting. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to say something like that, then you have to say that it's the fighting is with our words and not with any other method. So Art Acrobat says here, affirmative action students are mailed their degrees along with the university acceptance letters. That's good, brother. That's funny. Being an imbecile does not disqualify them from getting accepted to universities. No, I remember it was a couple of, was it a couple? I think it was a couple of, maybe this has happened several times, where there was this story where there was this young black woman, and she did well in high school, but as I recall, her, she was like A's and B's and at her high school, but it was nothing that warranted acceptance to something like, does anybody remember? It's like 50 of the biggest schools in the United States all accepted her. Yes, please come down and pay for her to go there. So whose money are they using? Who's getting victimized there? Mr. Foukers is here. Hello and welcome. Donning armor. If we can find out who these young men are, maybe we can get a copy of No White Guilts Go Free to them. Yes, if you can find out who they are, you'll probably find them on the unemployment line, I would imagine, soon enough. So just pass it out, distribute it to them there. And hopefully then they will catch on and start doing what works as well. I mean, could you imagine? Look at the difference. And then you see, so you have these different approaches. You have like the conservative line of thinking, and conservatives out there. This I'm talking about the ideology, because it is useless. Your leaders are useless. They have led you down a dead-end alley. You have to go free. You're never going to be able to preserve the things you want if you continue on that path. Just look at your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. They've all been losing all along. It's time to get smart, right? Don't keep looking dumb. Then you have the other alternative where you have these guys that say, well, I'll just embrace the horrific characters that they've given me. Well, then you lose then too. And we've shown that time and again. So many people have come away from that as well. Imagine if these young guys, instead of looking like a deer in headlights and then coming up with nothing better than can't do school, I guess, had the concepts that we share here to go free. They would have been magnificent. That would have been a glorious video. Think for yourself in these scenarios. Think for yourself, what would you say? Maybe your personality type, you stay really calm and you just say, did they start allowing anti-whites into this library? Because that appears to be, maybe you don't even respond to her. You talk to the other. Did they start allowing anti-whites in? Because apparently some anti-whites have gotten into the building like roaches. And yeah, I'm going to be taking some calls, Rory. Or maybe you speak to them a bit more aggressively. Like, leave me alone, anti-white. I'm doing my schoolwork. And if you continue to vex me, I will phone the authorities for harassment or whatever it might be. You get on the phone and you say, there are anti-whites here who are screaming anti-white invective at me at the library of my university, where my parents pay big money and I pay some of the money or whatever it is for these guys. And come and get them. The Watcher writes, minor correction, the sticker said the police matter. Thank you, brother. Yes. Let's see. Who else do we have here? So police matter, not police lives matter. The police matter. Rooster writes, what do you mean by backwards Mayberry think? Good question. And it's, if folks don't know, there was a TV show called the Andy Griffith Show in the United States. It was it was a black and white show, but I think it transitioned to color near the end of its seasons or somewhere. Is that right or wrong? And it was just this lovely little town that white people would love to live in. And it's very peaceful. Everybody's amicable. Their problems are so minor. It's lovely. And they could the kids can go play anywhere they want. And you don't have to worry about anything. And the sheriff is just this wise gentleman that can just pretty much talk people out of the issues because they're all reasonable folks. And it's this sort of like dim-wittedness, this small town mindset that, well, if we came from Mayberry, everything in Mayberry works out this particular way. And then taking that mindset and bringing it to the law of the jungle, which is the real world, and trying to apply it there. You know, if you're going to be like, one of the phrases they would say is, golly. I say golly. I say it a little differently than that, but these, and obviously a different intent, but they have just this benightedness to them about the real world and about anti-whites and what they want to do to us. And so when I'm talking about Mayberry thinking, it is this type of thinking that you just see. I was alluding to them earlier when I was talking about all of the folks, the girls of both sexes who were of the mind of, well, let's go ahead and have these what could it harm? We'll have this multi-cause where everybody will be in. And we said, no, that's not what they want. They're anti-whites. They want white erasure. This is one of the means by which they achieve it. And so, yeah, we need to bring people, got to yank them out of Mayberry. So it's this gullibleness, really, when you get right down to it, that you see far too often in white people. And I think that gullible versus dupe, I think gullible connotes that it's almost like a wanting. There's almost like you're so simple when it comes to your ability to think about the hostility of those around you and what their true objectives are. That it's almost like you want them to lie to you. Tell me that it's going to be, this is like the mantra in their minds. And you see this when you go to these conservative groups. I worked in the center of the conservative movement in the United States, the Nerve Center. And you see this thinking there. They want to be told a fanciful tale where there is no reality and everything just ends up being okay. That's just, they want to be, gullible people want to be duped. That's how they get called gullible, because they want to be tricked. They like that fanciful lie better than reality. Lockie is here. Good day, brother. Caught Carlin using talking points of the perpetrators of CRT. Something about non-whites using the language of white sympaths. I'll quote and post link in the comments. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And let's see, what else do we have here? Richard had a comment deleted about sitting around and bitching until outnumbered. Maybe you're brand new to the work that we're doing here. We are having victory after victory. We are the reason why key concepts like anti-white and anti-whiteism and more have entered and are entering social discourse. And the social discourse is the medium through which every law has to be passed, everything is considered, every code has to be interpreted, etc. That is how you change the world. We're doing it. And so nobody is sitting around and bitching. I can understand if you show up once and you say it once. Okay, now you get it. Now, you guys have the tools that are actually working. So there's something to do rather than to sit around and I'm not saying you do this, Richard, but sit around and fantasize taking on the United States military. Let's see. Vendelay is here. Looks like Sterling Price. Great to see you. Son of the South is here, and Rooster, and sliding through the live chat. Let's see. Who else was here? Masumi Rabbit. Great to see you. Jay is here. Jay Link says, I keep seeing it on speed dial every Sunday. I keep seeing in. Oh, CNN? Are you using voice to text? Probably so. Is here and writes, there was a case resolved recently about seizing weapons in a vehicle. Guy turned himself in to psych ward. Cops assured him they wouldn't take his guns, and they did anyway. What a surprise. He says, and they had to give guns back recently, court found. Well, are they going to be able to find them? I've read about that many times before. Okay, yeah, we'll give them back, but oops, don't know what happened to them. Yeah, I would not count on ever seeing them again if they take them. Son of the South says, hail, Promethean hail from Missouri, and a big hello back to you from the once great state of Virginia. How would you respond to someone who asks, what is white? I'd say you're looking at it. What is Western civilization? That's the question. What is white? What is Western civilization? What is Western kind? What is the history of Western kind? I don't know. Maybe a response. I have so many responses that I've given over the years, and I could give you so many different varieties. But the one I like right now is to show how dumb the questioner is by building on their question back at them. What is Western civilization? What is the offspring of a white man and white woman? What is the philosophy of Western civilization? What is the architecture? Brant Danger, agreeing with Franklin Peanut, said, yeah, the boys should have had no white guilt stickers on their laptops. Yeah, wouldn't that have been great? Then those anti-white pigs would have really lost their stuff, and they would have revealed even more. I mean, could you imagine all that they were revealing already? They would have revealed any more. No, you need to feel guilt. You need to be white guilted. You need to surrender. You need to get out. Yes, let's put them in that position to have to reveal more and more of who and what they actually are, what their objectives are. So much good comes of that. Good people of all races will come to White Wellbeing to help us put an end to anti-whiteism. And many of those people who are anti-white, or they villainy signal anti-whiteism, that they've become uncomfortable with being the bad guy in somebody else's story, and they will quietly exit stage left and say, I'm not going to pipe up today because they're looking pretty evil right now. You don't have to get everything when it comes to the recapture of our destiny. I'm sure you know about something far more than I do. So just, you can see this works. Like you flip a light switch on and it works. Just keep working. Kingdom of Inland writes, they're giving me more and more reasons not to join the U.S. military. If this continues, I'll probably won't go, even if my number is called, because I want to keep my right of self-defense. Well, and you also, got to consider also the whether or not you want to get a vaccination, because I don't think they are allowing anyone to not get the vaccination. But please do look into it for yourself, brother. Looks like we have the great Elaine Sabatino. Thank you for all the hearts. And I'm going to swivel around here. We will refresh this. I'm going to jump right over to the Going Free lesson of the day, and then we will get to Baldor and a couple of quick definitions before he goes to bed. And we have here, this is the MP actually that I wanted to look at today, the guilt by association MP, because anti-whites love this. Never let them divide us with the guilt by association tactic. It is a divide and conquer tactic. And what they do is they come in and, of course, they say, well, this person over here is bad for XYZ reason, because XYZ in their life could be 20 years ago, could be 5 years, who knows? And then the target, the victim of the attack, talked with them or whatever it might be. And they want to make you responsible for somebody else's acts over the course of their whole life. It is beyond impossible. It's so patently and obviously a divide and conquer tactic. But the population has become so immensely stupid after these giant brothers wars and women making really poor choices when it comes to good mates. The IQ and EQ and etc. has steadily dropped. And people just can't see their hands in front of their faces anymore. And of course, not all women. Some women have made magnificent choices when it comes to the production of children, but certainly most have not. And we just get dumber and dumber and more easily gulled by the day. But when they make this allegation of guilt by association, since you do not want to allow them to divide those who want to put an end to anti-whiteism, the victimization of our people, you need only cite what we do in service of going free. In the practice of going free, we go to all people with the message. We go to all people with the practice of going free. That includes, more important, I guess, more so than even others, those who have gone down the wrong path, right? Those who are maybe wayward in numerous ways, maybe playing a villain in the anti-white narrative or whatever it might be. We go to those people with the practice of going free, and we try to help them, just like the priest goes to the sinner. And just like some sinners take the priest's hand and then they begin on their way back to redemption or salvation. When we take the wayward and we try to redeem them, they'll stumble at times. They'll fall back into old patterns. They'll fall back into old ways of thinking about the world, because it is a very difficult thing to change a worldview. So we go to the wayward, just like the priest goes to the sinner, and we attempt to redeem them, just like the priest is bringing salvation to the sinner. That, first of all. Secondly, in the practice of going free, unlike a lot of other, endeavors to help people improve their lives, especially when it comes to drugs and things of this nature, we understand that people are going to stumble along the way. That includes coming away from ideas that they had in the past. So they might articulate something again. We understand that they're going to stumble, they're going to scrape their knee. What matters is that they get back up on their feet and they proceed in the correct direction, which of course is the path of going free. Ultimately, what you do when an anti-white tries to use the tactic of guilt by association with you is you immediately turn it around on the anti-white and you say that the only thing that holds true, that that both parties, that the one that you yourself and the one that he or she, the anti-white, is trying to connect you with, conflate you with. The only similarity is that you both object to the victimization of Western kind. That is the only similarity. And then that immediately identifies your victimizer as anti-white, immediately. And then they need to go on the defensive. They need to tell you, they need to try to tell you what is in your head, which is an extremely difficult argument to make because they can't possibly know what's in your head. Who does that matter for? It doesn't matter for the anti-white that's making the attack. It doesn't matter for other anti-whites who will agree. It matters, the audience that matters are our brothers and sisters out there by the millions upon millions who are seeing those interactions in the thousands or tens of thousands. All right, so they're going to see you saying the only thing that is similar between the two of us is that we both want to put an end to the victimization of Western kind. Then that means that you object to the victimization of Western kind. That's the only thing that we share. Do that, and you will make a big dent in anti-whiteism, and you will be able to turn back this attack of guilt by association. I've done it many times, many times, and it's worked beautifully every single time. Let us make a call right now to Baldur for a quick call, and then we will get right back on track.
Hi.
Hey, brother, how are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
What are we talking about today? What's on your mind?
Nothing special, really.
I'm looking forward to. We didn't do all of the words on your list that you sent me yet, right?
No, we haven't done all of them.
Okay.
We're not even half, I think.
Oh, you must have sent more than one list, and I had one up here. Let me just go back and find. Okay, there's that. Is that? Have we done all the words there yet, or no?
Hold on.
Yeah, I know it takes a second. You got to catch up.
I think we are at the doctrine of Antiwhitism.
All right. The doctrine of Antiwhitism. Okay, yes, 2 at the bottom of this list. And then we got the next page. Okay, to go. All right, let's do it, brother.
All right. The doctrine of Antiwhitism is kennisetning and hvíthyggjunnar.
One more time.
Kennisetning and hvíthyggjunnar.
Perfect. Now, have you had an opportunity to use that one?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'm curious to hear how people receive it. But we did discuss anti-whiteism further up. Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually a little further up the list. That said, you have it said a little bit differently than down here.
It's the inflections, the cases. And hvíthygja, and hvíthygju, and hvíthygju, and hvíthygju. So with an article, it's till to the fourth. The last case is and hvíthyggjunnar.
Very
so
good.
And hvíthygjan, and hvíthyggjuna, and hvíthyggjunni, and hvíthyggjunnar.
I gotcha. The doctrine of anti-white. Beautiful. I would seeing the doctrine of anti-whiteism in some newspaper or on some news channel over there in Iceland. Could you imagine, folks, how epic that would be? The reporter starts off something like, the flyer said that they were condemning the doctrine of anti-whiteism. That would be great. Brother, doom dissecting. That word looks cool. How do you say that?
Oh, yeah, it's incorrect. It should be dauðadómsmelting, not dómsmelting.
Oh, all right.
Doom is dauðadómur. So it's dauðadómsmelting.
Have you had an opportunity to use that yet?
Not really. No, it's something I would use to. Well, I might have just unconsciously. I was talking to an Icelander, a white positive one. I might have said it.
Well, if you get any feedback on that, I would really like to find out what folks say when they hear that, if that makes sense to them when they hear it anew. I think it would, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So we got to go on to page 2 now, which I think is right here. Doom dissection. This is another one. Doom dissection. Yeah.
Doom dissection should be dauðadómskrufning.
Okay, say it again one more time.
Dauðadómskrufning.
So would that be 2 words or just one longer word?
One word.
One word. Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, how does that translate? Does it really does it feel the same way in Icelandic as it does in English?
Doom has a broader meaning. Dauðadómur is not the perfect translation, but it comes close to doom.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's just one of those words. It's difficult.
Well, what will be good is as we move forward, our champions there in Iceland, led by yourself, we'll have to see, which of these in translated form, work fabulously, and in which cases you might have to use the English. We were just hearing, excuse me, on tap yesterday about in Germany them using the English versions of these concepts, and the reason why it works so well is that even though this was from oh gosh, I just lost his name. Who was that they called him from Germany yesterday? It was L. Ronder, I think, and was saying that the race would be something that they would not normally use in Germany at all, the word, but in German, but they're using it in English. So that really is opening the door to those who want to acknowledge that by race we are being victimized. Like I was saying earlier, when it came to like colorblind society, and you got to be able to recognize that you are the race that is being attacked. So it's like saying, instead of saying colorblind, they're saying race blind. They're race blind society. That's really what a conservative is saying when they say such a thing. But and that's fine like I said earlier, when you're victimizing, because you shouldn't be victimizing anybody on any basis. But to not be able to see race when it's your race that's being attacked is the height of stupidity. That's why I call them the Mayberry morons. They really are. They're functionally comatose. But this is fabulous, brother. And any other thoughts that you wanted to share while you were with us today?
Wasn't it L. Ronder who?
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, L. Ronder. Yeah.
Okay, we have been trying to translate the German lexicon. It's not complete, but L. Ronder, if you're watching, please email me at translategofree@protonmail.com. I can send you the document with the translations in German.
That's awesome. That is so great. These
And-
Go ahead.
I should say, I did the math. If we're taking 3 words every week, we'll be we'll finish this in 2022. So shouldn't we take 10 words?
Well, we could schedule that, to have you on for longer, like a regular guest. We could do that, absolutely. Let me, I'm jotting a note down right now, and I will get back to you on that. We'll set that up. That sound good, brother?
Yes.
All right. Folks, this is a grand champion here in Baldor. So let's get a raucous round of emojis for all of this great work that he did. It was of his own volition, the self-starter. And we are entrepreneurs. We are doers. We are people that build castles and skyscrapers and dig canyons where there are none and redirect the course of rivers. And there's nothing we can't do. We're Western kind. When we put our minds to it, we make it happen. And that's the kind of people that are drawn to the practice of going free. And we love you, brother. Thank you so much. Baldor, ladies and gentlemen. Promethean hails to you, brother. And I'll talk with you about coming on for a longer stint each time that we have you on, and how we'll tackle that. And then we'll talk at least again by this coming Sunday or next. Sound good?
Yeah, either that or just cherry pick the most important ones, because
that's it. We're on the same exact path. Just thinking the exact same thing.
Okay.
But that's fantastic. Yes.
Iteration 2 coming out.
Iteration 2, actually, a little hint, folks. It's just a day, 2 days, 3 days max away.
Oh, wow.
Now that's the printed version. The Kindle version will be about another week to 2 weeks. But remember, the way it's supposed to work is that if you have the Kindle version, you can just download Iteration 2. You won't have to purchase again. And if you are abroad, you have to change your location. Many of you, not all of you, in order to get the Kindle versions. If I send it out to you as a gift on me. So just remember that if I send it out as a gift on me to any of you, change your location so that you can download it, and then you could just change right back if you wanted. But for some reason, some countries, I get these complaints that, I complain against Amazon, not against yours truly, but that there's an issue. They get some message, some cruel message of, not in your country, you're not going to get to read this. Well, they're our country, anti-whites, all of our countries, and we dictate here. So thank you so much, brother, and we'll talk to you very soon. Promethean hails.
Promethean hails. Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye-bye. That is the champion, ladies and gentlemen. And Baldor from Iceland, doing amazing things. And we will continue doing amazing things right after we take a quick look at this. Isn't this an epic video made by Final Blossom? We didn't play properly last week, and I wanted to give it another go. We'll play it again in the near future, but I wanted to give everybody another look at it. Continue with the gathering. Belief don't even matter. That's just their lives. It don't matter. All right. What do you say we get back to it? We can make some more highlights, historical action that the great Final Blossom can add to the tally of all the work and victories that we have. Drowning in the argument, the anti-white says, what exactly is anti-white? You have got to be animated with the righteous passion of reclaiming our destiny. We are the heroes of this era. And here we are, and we'll speak to a couple more of your comments. We'll get to these financial gifts and then calls, and we're going to then head out so I can get back to work on White Wellbeing, just like all of you. We had the great Rory financially gifting $3. God bless you, brother, and thank you so very much for your service to White Wellbeing. Writing here, that looks to me like a McLaren 720S on your T-shirt. Definitely one of the best British sports cars ever built. Am I correct? You are correct. That's magnificent, brother. Good eye. A beautiful machine, magnificent machine. Good eye. And we have the great Zero Talon financially gifting $10 US. Thank you, brother. He writes here, Jason, the word anti-white is making quite a splash. YouTube is now soft censoring it, requiring a moderator to allow the message if it has the word anti-white. Yes. Thank you for mentioning that, because I was experiencing the same thing in some of my comments, that I was having to spell things differently. That is indeed the anti-whites acknowledging with this sort of an action that what you're using is successful, and we want to stop you from using. That's what the anti-white is saying. They want to stop us from using anti-white. Well, we're not going to stop using it. There are a great many ways to spell it and to say it, to show it, and we'll continue to use it, and it will become, as it is already rapidly, thanks to our efforts and our continued pushing, our outreach teams, etc. It's becoming a part of the household conversation. Let's see, what do we have here? We have a deleted accusation that what we are doing here wouldn't be on YouTube if it had any effect. Well, that, of course, is dumb and childish. And that's probably the reason why I'm going to go ahead and guess that you did not get that accusation. You didn't come up with it. Somebody gave it to you and you haven't thought about it. And when you think about it, you're going to think, wow, that's a really dumb thing to say, because it's a demonstration to not be able to see the reason why that we continue to succeed as widely as we succeed and repeatedly, despite the obstacles that the anti-whites continue to throw in front of us, is an admission to a lack of understanding, which is an admission, in this case, to a lack of either education or intelligence. So you have to work on it. Think about this a little bit more, and then you will understand. It'll all make sense to you. Let us continue. Patrick of Southtown says, Promethean hails, Jason, a big Promethean hails. Back to you, good brother. I think we are blank over here, so I haven't missed anybody. And no, we have the great Brad C., ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful champion, and a big salute to this champion. $20 financial gift. Thank you, brother. And he writes, folk tithing. It's his folk tithe. Well, God bless you. Thank you so very much. And thank you for your deep service to White Wellbeing. You're a true champion. There's Coconut just entered. Hello to you. Let's see. American Chestnut Tree says he loves the timeline clip. Yeah, isn't that fantastic to see how it all came together? Raucous Drift says, good video. Yeah, it's a great video. We just had Final Blossom on. If you want to hear him, he's one of the community members that we brought on to tap yesterday, me and the great Mr. Jared George. And you can hear the champion and genius himself. And another champion and genius, Raymond Foster, is with us, ladies and gentlemen. Great champion for White Wellbeing Down Under. It has to happen in all countries, folks. It can't happen in just one. It has to happen in all of our countries. You know what will happen if it happens in just one here or one there. The others will be taken to war against them, and it will be over. Son of the South says, sent to you in entropy. Okay, I'll take a look. American Chestnut, no white guilt has been shadow banned in all hell, to all hell, because, oh yeah, me, right. No white guilt has been shadow banned to all hell because he is extremely effective. Well, precisely. And I thank you for that, brother. It's a miracle he's still here. Well, first of all, and then he says, but again, he is shadow banned as hell. Well, precisely. This is a way, and I've talked about this before, they need to be able to feign to all of the many millions of our brothers and sisters out there that they are providing an impartial environment. So some people are going to have to be allowed to remain. And so then the question is, how do you end up navigating that rivulet from the top of the hill to the bottom? And one of the ways that you do that is by being who and what we truly are. But you're right, they shadow ban, and we've also had channels deleted, both Mr. George and myself. So this idea that he's still on YouTube, therefore, is really asinine. All right, let's keep rolling. And okay, got everybody over there, and let's roll around to here. And let's see, we have The Watcher has financially gifted $10. Thank you, brother. And he writes, thank you to everyone going free for White Wellbeing. Well, thank you so very much for that. Yes, a big debt of gratitude to everybody who's going free, because, hey, in service to White Wellbeing, that means our entire world is getting better. You need your environment. This is so hard for white people to get for some reason. Non-white people do it wonderfully. They know that their people have to do well if they're going to do well. But white people, we just haven't learned it yet. So it's something we have to learn. Our people have to do well as a people for us to do, not as individuals, not as radical individualists. And really, this whole idea of this radical individualism is just focused socialism. Because the people that do the best in radical individualist environments are the ones who have these networks where they get hooked up because of that and hooked up because of this. Which is not to say that there aren't people out there that faced all the odds and still did it. But that is like finding hen's teeth. Over in the question widget, quickly, we'll see that looks like Brandon has a question. I think we should try to give flyers to the white Greeks and Serbians. We have a lot of them where I live. Is there a place for no white guilt flyers, brother? If you go on over to nowhiteguilt.org, where, by the way, I didn't mention, if you have a cryptocurrency you want to financially gift, over there as well, nowhiteguilt.org. And if you're looking for the leaflets, what is it called? Printables? What is it called? Something like that. Tab across the top, and then you'll find some there. And thank you very much for that question. Financial gifts for those who want to financially gift with a cryptocurrency. You'll find that tab there as well. Son of the South is asking, how do we convince friends from being sectarian and playing the villain? Well, that's a great question, brother. And it depends on the scenario. So you approach it by saying that you understand, this is generally, you understand where they're coming from, that you feel for the victimization of our people, which is something that they object to. You tell them that you've come upon something that works like nothing in the past has ever worked, and that it prohibits playing the villain and the anti-white narrative, and it prohibits being a sectarianizer and trying to split up into all of these different groups. That's one of the reasons why we are, or it's not just one of the reasons, I guess it's one of the great many reasons that we are a practice, and that's what Going Free is, not a group to be sectarianized and broken up because somebody disagrees with, what the flag should look like for the group, something really silly. So that's a general way to approach somebody who wants to play the villain. And then you can get into the details or the particulars about what you suffer, how little you accomplish by playing the villain, and how much more you can do by becoming who you were the moment that you decided to serve, that you decided to care. You became white sympathetic. At that moment, you weren't a villain. At that moment, you weren't being the villain in their story. That's something you became after you made that decision because you thought that's what it looked like to be white sympathetic. But that's not what it looks like. That's just to be a stooge in their story. And point that out to them. You don't want to be a stooge in their story. That's what they want you to do. He writes, I talked with a childhood friend of mine who said he is on the fence whether he is white or not. Whether he's white. He joined the Golden Dawn division. They do street boxing. Yeah, not a good idea. If you want to exercise and learn self-defense, by all means, please do that. If you have a buddy in a group or political group that you are in and you want to work out with him and you want to practice self-defense with him, then more power to it. Most of the countries in the West are not in a state where power is held so tenuously by those in charge that there is a hope for some sort of physical resistance, or that you could just fight it out with some other group out in the streets and then have power. That's not how it works anymore. There's no tenuous grasp on power. They will just shoot you all dead. So there's no hope that direction. But physical self-defense, getting in shape with friends and people in the group, outside of the group, please, by all means, do that. He says, Golden Dawn plays the villain in Greece and America, and their members got arrested in Greece and here in America for violence. Yeah, I remember some of those articles. It's a real shame, because if you're willing to go out there and be arrested, have your life ruined in so many different ways for no good for our people, you won't do any good for our people by doing that. In fact, you'll do harm, because they'll get video, they'll get photographs of that, they'll show that to our brothers and sisters out there by the millions, and they'll say, see, the anti-white narrative is real. These people are monsters. After they get done fist fighting out here and wearing masks and looking scary, they go home and they talk about how they want to do X, Y, and Z to non-white children. And just like and then everybody shakes their head. Yeah, that's what they do, because they've seen it in every movie and read it in every fiction book, every fiction movie, every fictional TV show. Yep, that's exactly what they do. So they just cause harm. If they're willing to do that much damage to themselves and that much damage to our people for some sort of service for the good of our people, then it would be much better of them to go free and use that energy in some place far more productive, like helping themselves to go free, helping those around them to go free, empowering our brothers and sisters with a lexicon that is contagious. They immediately pick it up, getting married, producing a powerful, numerous white family, and inoculating those children against anti-whiteism. That's how we're going to do this. And that's how we are doing it. Thank you very much for those questions. Let's move on to some of these announcements, and we'll get to the calls and then be wrapping up for the night. We have another cartoon from Masumi Rabbit. Now, I don't know if Naderific is here and he has, if they've addressed some of those things that I can't put on on YouTube. Hint, hint to the guy who was asking about how's he still on YouTube if so if that's been addressed, let me know, and then maybe we will I'll snatch that and we'll share it. Masumi Rabbit doing some great art, Natarific, I think, coming up with retaining Masumi Rabbit to do these things. That's great, and thank you both for that great service. I want to give a big thank you. Let's get a big round of applause to Fornal. This guy is just always out there making headlines, isn't he? What an epic beast of a servant to White Wellbeing this guy is. And just wanted to say that he's bringing over some very impressive people to the service of White Wellbeing. He's a true champion, and these very impressive people are becoming true champions in their own right. And it's because of his endeavors. The more wonderful people we bring over, the more we will bring over. And this spreads, ladies and gentlemen, this spreads. And then you start hitting, eventually it is spreading. We start hitting the savants out there, and we start hitting the people who have money out there, and they all start being hitting. We start suffusing them with the ambrosial edicts and concepts of going free. And then they come into service and many more wonderful things, because that's how it works. That's how reality works. Sorry that it's not like Hollywood, but it's a surprise to some, very painful for others that it's not like Hollywood. It's supposed to be over in like 2.5 hours, isn't it? Aren't you just supposed to just like get a bunch of guys together and you hit a punching bag for a while, and there's some music playing in the background while you punch it, and it's like your Rocky Balboa is training, he's getting ready for the big fight, and it takes like 30 seconds in the movie, but it's supposed to represent like 6 months worth of training. And then there's some of that music, and then suddenly there's a clash, and then suddenly we have the epic ending where there's music playing again. No, that's actually not how it works at all. So welcome to reality. We have I want to remind everybody one more time about Odysee over here, and that if you financially gift $1, they will fleece the hell out of you. So do not financially gift $1. You're giving almost half of it to Odysee and the processor, and we do not want to do that. I want to remind everybody that Brant over there at School of the West is available for tutoring. He's teaching classes, numerous and individual. So reach out for schoolofthewest.world if you would like assistance there to Brant. And a big thank you to Brant. I also want to remind everybody that at the top of the description, we have a link, and it's titled Derek Hook of Duquesne University Grievance Letter. If you have not sent the letter yet to the dean, to the alumni, to the local paper, to wherever, then you need to click on that link. You need to download that letter. You can change a few things. Don't take the concepts, the concepts that we have put in there from Going Free. Don't take those out. You can change it a little bit otherwise, or pick up the phone and essentially read it off to the people you talk to. Do that soon. This is the guy that said that that the comments made, that I'll say in a moment, were ethical by a professor. Is he a professor also in South Africa, anti-white, who was talking about biologically white erasing the white race. But check with CNN to make sure that is true. But do this, and hopefully we can get some action. I was thinking about maybe calling them myself and recording it, maybe going live. We'll do a live stream, and I'll call them, and I will tell them what scum they are for being anti, because they are, I hold everybody there, every employee at Duquesne, responsible for these views of Derek Hook until he's fired from that university. Also at the top, there is the video that we shared tonight, Groundhog Fury's video of the gears turning. You can download that. It's free. Download it and then share it everywhere. He made that wonderful video of the gears, and a lot of people have been really high on it. So share it. That's the kind of thing you can share with all of your vague friends, family members out there. They'll all want to know where that came from. And then you will be happy to share the 5 key concepts with them, and maybe even more. want to share this as well. Take a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. This is JK160 made this meme. Let's get a round of emoji applause for him. Go free. And there he is. He's chiseling himself. I thought this was so apropos. You can copy this right off the screen and then share it widely. Go free, and maybe add on it when you share it, the website nowhiteguilt.org, to direct people to the source where they can begin themselves going free and reclaiming our destiny. Also want to share this. Take a look at that. Only an anti-white is disturbed by this. This was from the outreach team, ladies and gentlemen, making some magnificent memes over there. Only an anti-white is disturbed by it. Precisely. That is a beautiful thing, right? That loving white family, and what would be the only thing that would put a cherry on top of this beautiful visage is that mom and dad are going free, and they are teaching their children, inoculating them against all those mean pathogens that they're going to end up seeing in the world, all those things that the anti-whites would like them to believe. So a big raucous round of emojis for the outreach team and JK160. I appreciate that. Now, another thing I wanted to tell you all is that, is that I will be at a conference. I can't tell you exactly where or what, but there's a conference coming up, and I will be there, and I'm going to be around people that have some influence, and around some good people, some good men and women, and some money and clout, certainly more than I have. And they are I'm going to be doing my best. As you know, I always do my best for White Wellbeing. So you could potentially participate in that. You could put some comments on the thread of this video once it's processed and it's up there. Maybe some comments of testimonials to the success of going free, the success of going free in your life, the success of going free in the lives of those you have helped to go free, how you have watched our victories unfolding, and whatever else you think that people who are new, people who are potentially thinking about investing in something, what they might like to see. Tell them the truth about the changes in your life, how many of you have sent messages about how you were never able to reach people before, and now you're able to reach them. Now you're able to make a difference in their lives because you are empowered with the lexicon and dialectics, the concepts of going free. You've been here, you've been watching it, you know this is the community where it's happening. We're the ones changing the world. Put that in the thread, and then maybe these people will take a look at it, and that will also help to influence their thinking. I will be back on time on this coming Sunday for our gathering. Might be a little harried at that time, but we'll see. And we'll get through it. We'll have a great time. It'll be totally victorious. There's never a moment that we're not winning big time. And so hard, as our dear friend Imminent Rain says. I'll definitely be back. I'll be on Wednesday with PWR, and then TAP sometime between now and Wednesday. So really looking forward to that. Really excited. Another opportunity for all of us, and Lord willing, we'll be taking another step. We'll definitely be influencing in the positive and getting more eyeballs on the work that we're doing. So it's just another very exciting moment for us in service to White Wellbeing, because we just continue to make it happen. It's not about another. You know how many times over the years it's been. We're going to get another party platform together, or another club platform together, or another flag drawn up, or another. Let's just put all that stuff aside and let's just march on to victory. How about that? How does that sound? Listen, let's share a content creator. And the one we're sharing today who's doing good work for us is Anglo America. And it's Anglo-America on YouTube. Anglo-America on YouTube. And that's a content creator that at some point, I guess, still around, I presume, was producing or sharing white positive content, going free content, Anglo-America on YouTube. Look it up, folks. Now let's get to something really exciting, and then we're gonna. You know what? I want to. Maybe I should hit the super exciting right now. And I got a few comments I want to read as well, in addition to the super exciting. Because, what should I do? What should I do? Super exciting first? Maybe, yeah. We'll do the really exciting. We're gonna reach into the mailbag, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna pull out a letter, and we're gonna have a quick little read here. This is magnificent, folks. Brother Jason. Just getting caught up with yesterday's Going Free stream. My schedule is so busy and interrupt driven these days. I have to catch most White Wellbeing creators in replay. Anyway, in honor of Boring Sanko, I would like to make a contribution, a financial gift to you in the amount of $2,500, ladies and gentlemen. $2,500 US from this fantastic gentleman, a true champion in service to White Wellbeing. Let's hear it in raucous emojis. I mean, let's actually hear it through like the screens. $2,500 to White Wellbeing in the name of Boring Sanko. He writes. Oh my God, she's gonna love that. She's gonna love that. I normally put a little money away. Now listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. This is a true champion in service to White Wellbeing. Whole family. I normally put a little money away every chance I get to support White Wellbeing in some way. It goes something like this. Do I really need to eat lunch out today? No. Okay, that's $13 for White Wellbeing. My wife and I decide we don't need to eat dinner out tonight. Okay, that is another $50 for White Wellbeing. Reaching for that impulse buy in the checkout line? Think again, another $3 for White Wellbeing, and so on. Eventually, it starts to add up. I keep track of it with a little spreadsheet ledger. This is something I do to keep White Wellbeing in front of me every time I reach for my wallet. This provides me a small sense of accomplishment and pride that I'm doing something to help our people. It also makes up for the fact that I do not, also makes up for the fact that I am not around in the live chats that much anymore. And I will still pull a few dollars out of savings for folk tithing as well. As you know, my wife and I, as you should know, my wife and I still go out and enjoy a good meal. And we enjoy it even more knowing the cost of the last would-be meal went to support White Wellbeing. I was just about to write a check for $2,000. But after listening to the Boring Sanko BS, I dug in a little deeper and threw in another $500 just for her. All right, there's some more private stuff there. Raucous round of emojis for this champion and his wife. I know, when you that's the exact same thing that I've done. I mean, I didn't keep a ledger over the years. I just say something for White Wellbeing, something for the work that I'm doing in service to White Wellbeing, and I pay. And that means that I'm not buying other things. So I know what that's like. And that should really be appreciated. That his wife and him, and I don't know how old this gentleman is, but there are plenty of folks out there who are of all ages, who are out just spending every last dollar on more baseless, meaningless entertainment and trying to fill the hole in their soul. And they find out it just is gone the next second. They feel hollow the very next day. It's not, they need to get higher. They need to get They need the music to be louder. They need the dance even longer. And then they do that. And then it's still the next day. There's no meaning. There's no value to their lives. They have realized, these champions, this couple, they've realized that they can still enjoy the night out at dinner. They can still buy one of the impulse buys at the register. And those things have meaning now. They're in their proper place as simple pleasures, because they know in their hearts that they're filling their soul, to mix the metaphors, with something that is truly worthy of filling their soul. And that is service to white well-being. It is the only thing that can ask you for your life. It's the only thing that can demand your life from you, because it is the thing that gave you life. We are nothing without our biospirit. So this is a magnificent victory in service to white well-being. God bless you, brother. You and your wife are true champions. And I wish we lived in a world. I am working, let's put it that, let's take the wish out of it. We are working on a world where we won't have to be anonymous, because the anti-whites are able to ruin us, and do ruin us every time they get a chance, because they are actually in control. It's not like the anti-white narrative at all. So we are working on a world where we can stand up with our names and faces, all of us, and take credit for the good that we do. But just know, I know that many of you have to remain anonymous and will always be anonymous, because of the power the anti-whites wield, and because of how they victimize us. You will only be able to be effective in an anonymous state. So I deeply appreciate you. We deeply appreciate you. And, maybe for all of these grand champions who have to be anonymous for their whole lives, maybe in their final days, they could write it into their will or something, that they would like it to be known, their service to white well-being. And we will, or let us know somehow when we have a system to be able to keep that information. And we will honor you when you're gone then. It'd be a great middle finger to the anti-white establishment. But thank you so very much. This is a champion, this kind of work that is going to end up with a statue in the future as we recapture our destiny. Let me jump into these really quickly, and we're going to get to these calls. And we have, was it Jeremy, the one who had a question? I don't think I'm going to get to all of them right now, because we're going to get to the calls quickly. It's already 7:16 on the East Coast of the United States. We might have to, we'll move some of these to our next time together. But we did have, and I wanted to mention here in one of the threads, a participant by the name of Ryan, is it Corper? He says, colorblind is just a code word for ignore white erasure. We need to follow in the footsteps of going free. God bless you, Ryan. Yes, I can. And yes, and I did address that at the beginning of the stream, Roy, and I changed it back. So if it's still happening, it might have to be a new stream for it to quit what it's doing. Really? So you have to, are you able to verify everything that and permit it to come through? Let's see here. Oh, yes. Let's do Jeremy, and then we'll get to the calls. No, I also want to read Reptile's comment. So many great comments, but we got comments from a lot of champions here. But Jeremy says, question for dealing with anti-whites. I recently had an argument with one asking him why it is okay for non-white people to positively identify with who and what they are, but not for people of European descent, Western kind. He went on saying that, quote, whites don't and never had a shared cultural identity in America, close quote, and making the comparisons between Irish, Italian, Polish, English Americans. I brought up shared cultural norms we take for granted, that came over from Europe as a whole. Even though white Americans never explicitly identified with a shared white heritage, it was slightly understood and taken for granted. Never got a response, as the entire comment was deleted any better way to handle the accusation that, quote, whites don't have a shared culture or that white isn't a culture? Well, first of all, Jeremy, thank you for going free. Thank you for your service to White Wellbeing. Thank you for the question. It's an important question. The number one thing is you go on the attack. Why are they anti-white? You just think of it that way in your mind. This begins the thought chain. Why are they so anti-white? Why would they say that there's no such thing as a white culture in America or an American culture, which is what it is, that we create as Westmen? Now, what's out there in America today is something that is anti-white influenced, and there's a corpse sort of muddling through it somewhere that was the culture of the West. But what you have today is this monstrosity of anti-whiteism, and in the United States, but you even have that in Europe as well. Our countries there as well, where the anti-whites are running everything into the ground with anti-whiteism. So anti-whites always make this kind of argument that white people aren't a people, that Western kind isn't a people, that white isn't a culture. And we heard that earlier, and I mentioned it earlier with these anti-whites at Arizona State University. The number one thing I'll say here is you ceded some ground when you were talking about, let's see, even though white Americans never explicitly identified with a shared white heritage, there is, without question, a cultural hue of Western culture that Western kind creates in the United States. It is different from what's created by our people in Canada. And both are different from what is created by our people in the UK. And all three are different from what our people create in France. You need to remember that the United States, what was our culture all the way up when we had, the population of non-white people was in single digits. What was it if not white? We controlled the printing houses, we controlled the playhouses, we wrote the books, etc. Of course, there was an American culture, and it meant white. It was because we created Western civilization. No one else creates it. America, even though going down the toilet today, was a Western civilization, and still in its corpse is a Western civilization. And even though it's decaying. So there is an identifiable culture. Even when you strip away anti-whiteism from our people in New Zealand, there is an identifiable hue of Western culture there, created by our people. Same thing with Australia. Same thing with every single one of our countries. So you strip away anti-whiteism and you see what and who we are and what we create. So I jotted down some thoughts, and then you can snatch this off of this video. When they ask or they demand, when an anti-white, and you don't have to do this, you can just go after them for making the demand, for denying that there is a culture, because they wouldn't do that to any other race of human beings. You point out to them that Western kind is a single people with many countries. And in those countries, in every single one of those countries, we create Western culture. And there's a slightly different hue in each of the countries. But there isn't a single non-white country that is Western civilization. Not a single one. We created, and they're just as good. The non-white countries are just as good. They're just different. But we are the only people who create Western civilization, Western culture. And then you have, and that is just an artifact of our projection, of our instinct, of our biospirit onto our environment, influenced by, of course, individual personalities and the interaction of all of that projection. And that is how you end up with these different hues. And it's beautiful. It's wonderful that we have these different hues. So to claim that we don't, no, in fact, not only do we not lack a culture, we have more culture than anyone else. Just look at all of the variety of Western culture. Now, of course, the anti-whites they're going to say that that isn't the case, and that's how you know that they're anti-white. So just some things to think about, though. I'm going to share. I wrote down. I'm going to share with you when you're talking about culture. And do white people have culture? And just you can answer each of these questions. I'm not going to ask them as question. I'm going to just give them as like a topic header, and then you fill in underneath of it, do these things exist? And then you're suddenly going to say, oh my God, it's like a fish swimming in water. We're surrounded by our culture. We're surrounded by our norms. It is everywhere. Fine arts, drama, literature, popular music, classical music, games, folk dancing, style of dress, high and low, cooking, conceptions of beauty, ideas for child rearing, notions of modesty, patterns of superior subordinate relationships, expected relationships, and how one should treat animals, expected relationships and how one should treat the environment, ideas of right and wrong, conceptions of cleanliness, facial expressions, roles in society, body language. It just goes on and on. You can sit down and begin filling out body language, for example. And we all know, in the US, you might give a certain finger to the anti-whites, whereas in Italy, they might do a gesture off of their chin toward the anti-whites. Now, the fact that we as a people in the United States give one gesture for the anti-whites, and our people in Italy, in our country called Italy, give a different gesture toward the anti-whites. The fact that we have two different gestures doesn't mean that we don't have any gestures. It means that we have a multiplicity. And if it is the multiplicity that is confusing these low IQ'd anti-whites, well, then be sure to let them know. I really appreciate your question, because it is a pretty regular, and you can see here these anti-whites attacking those boys at Arizona University using that exact same sort of argument. You will love it when you go after them. I'll just tell you from my experience, when you go after them on how anti-white, it could be this simple, folks. You don't have to do that little exercise. You don't have to arm yourself with that. It can be as simple as going after the anti-white, pointing out how they're anti-white because they only take that tact with white people. They don't do it with non-white groups. And to watch them get onto their heels because they want you to be trying to defend something that is like taken for, you exist and you have a right to exist because you exist, demanding reasons for why you should exist. Anti-whites have done this. I've seen them do this to white people and win often against them. You need only point out that only somebody trying to biologically white erase you would demand a reason to not white erase you. The fact that you are there, that our people exist, is all the reason that there needs to be. End of the conversation. Now tell me why you're so anti-white. Now this was written by Reptile, and we'll call, I think, was it Donning Armor next, and then Mr. V. Reptile wrote this. Let me get a sip here. Okay. Reptile writes, how many of our elderly brothers and sisters, children and babies will be victimized because of her vile rhetoric? How many will endure unspeakable horrors? And how much of that suffering will she continually excuse? How much pain will she normalize until it's societally acceptable to openly victimize our people? I lay all of it at her feet. Every child taught they are wicked, every man suffering to make undue amends, and every woman living in fearful submission to the anti-white narrative. All of it all of it must be laid squarely at the feet of those responsible. We will tell you when you've made amends, and we will decide when our pain has been compensated. This is our story. God bless you, brother. That is magnificent. Let's get a big round of applause for the great Reptile telling it like it is and as it should be told. Heading over to raucous round of emojis for Reptile. Calling Rory. Let's see if he's available. It was Rory that had asked. Are you there, brother?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we sure can. What's on your mind?
Jason, hi. I just wanted to say I just read your book. It's a comedy, damn it.
Ah, okay.
And it was quite amusing because I know you mentioned on a PWR stream a couple of weeks ago that it was concerned groundhogs.
Yes.
And I know it's a short story, but I find it very amusing because first of all I thought it's probably something to do with Punxsutawney Phil or someone like that.
Yeah.
And then I realised what it was all about. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but my daughter was actually having a problem with groundhogs in her garden in Staten Island because she keeps some chickens and turkeys there,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not too happy with them.
I bet not.
She actually found one had drowned in her swimming pool.
Oh my gosh, dreadful.
So I thought to myself, well, I presume they can swim, or maybe they can't.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting question. I've never thought about whether or not I would think that they would be able to swim, but dog paddle at least. I mean, groundhog paddle maybe. I don't know what that is, but yeah.
But maybe just.
I guess he just ran out of gas.
Maybe this one had just fallen in and couldn't get out.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I was also interested, Jason, what inspired you to write the book?
Well, what inspired me to write the book? I have a sense of humor, or a desire for humor, maybe, that has always been with me. And so I was in the midst of working on my other books, and I think many folks know that I wrote three separate versions of Born Guilty at the same time. Worked them almost all the way to about at least like the 2/3, I would roughly say, mark, because I didn't know how exactly I wanted to construct the story, and I knew that if I worked one of the ideas all the way through, that it would be very difficult to start again. But I was in the midst of doing that, and it's all very serious stuff, as you know. And I just was, every day sitting down to write that things that were emotionally challenging and tough. And I just decided I am going to write a comedic short story, and I'm just going to have a little bit of fun with it. And so that's what I ended up doing, just something zany and crazy, and I'm really glad you enjoyed it.
Well, it is excellent. I think perhaps you had some personal experience with groundhogs.
Well, yes. In fact, there's where I used to live out in the plains, Virginia. I really lived there. Where in Born Guilty, where the reader comes to stay with me, I really lived in that place. That's a real place. And when I lived out there, I was working on the hill in DC. And I had this very long drive to and from every single day that very easily would be 3 hours each direction because of traffic and just the distance.
Sure.
Yeah, it's terrible. And as I neared my exit to get off of the highway, there was in between, you got 2 lanes going each direction, and then this broad natural swath running between the highways, and kept nice, and it would be, sometimes it'd be level with the road, sometimes it would be hills, sometimes with some copse, sometimes none, no trees, no brushes or bush. But there was this one right there at the exit where there was this hill that came up between both sides of the highway, and a groundhog built his home right there in this hill. And he would come out with his terrible groundhog vision and sit just like they do. I don't know why they do this, and watch traffic. He would just watch the cars go by. So it started off as like kind of a joke where I would see that ground. It's like, there's that same damn groundhog. And I would say hello to him as I went by and took my exit. And I got to the point, even when I lived out there, there was a snow that was we had a snow that was about 3 feet. And I went by a couple days and I didn't see him. And I thought, my gosh, I guess he's fine down in his burrow with that 3 feet of snow on top. And then one day driving by, I saw that he had burrowed through the snow, and there was some dirt on the snow, and he was sitting up on top of the snow watching traffic. I guess he had gotten tired. So I'm sure he played a part when I decided to write a comedic short story. That particular groundhog, I played a role in it, because how often I saw him sitting on that hill watching as I drove by.
Well, that's fascinating, Jason. Just a couple more points about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but one of the funniest things I found was when Roth offered to Lucifer a sign saying, "This is a gun-free house."
Yes.
Sorry, this is a gun-free house. Put it up. And of course, he refused to do it.
Yes.
That just said so much to me about these liberals who they'll say something, but actually when it comes to doing something like that, it's like, oh no, I can't possibly do that.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? That's something that I've really done, and added that to the story. I've really been out and had stickers that said, "This is a gun-free home," and I'd be passing out leaflets for other groups. And then when I would get into conversation with people, if I find out they're anti-whites and they were against the right to self-defense, I would say, "Oh, then I got a perfect sticker, and you want to put this right on your front door." It was a pretty big sticker. So you got to put this right on your front door, or right on your mailbox in front of your house, so everyone knows yours is a gun-free home. And they would see that in every time. None of them ever took it. They always, "No, thank you." They knew right away that the criminal would rob their house, because the criminal would be certain that he wouldn't or she wouldn't get harmed. So
yeah, absolutely.
It was perfect for the story and Lucifer. Yeah.
And lastly, Jason, because I know you need to get on. I love your choice of firearms as well, particularly the AR-15.
Yes.
Because when I was serving in Germany during the Cold War, I was fortunate enough to go down to a US Ranger Battalion, and I remember that there was a staff sergeant there, and he's introducing us to the M16 rifle.
Oh.
And I'll try and put on an American accent as best I can, but he basically said, "This is the M16, self-loading, fully automatic, Tommy killing carbine."
Perfect. I love it. You did a great job.
Thank you. But I'll never forget that. And I can't. Can you imagine the American military saying that today?
Oh, no. Absolutely not. No, I can't. If they did it, they would do it really quietly, especially now with how they're going about purging everybody from the military who's a red-blooded, patriotic, law-abiding, tax-paying American. Yeah, I could not imagine that anymore. But That's a wonderful little tale. Yeah, that's an
thank you.
interesting weapon too. Yeah, it's a
very, very good rifle. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And what are we going to say?
I was just going to say, just to conclude, Promethean hails, my brother. Thank you.
Well, Promethean hails to you too, my brother, and we'll talk again soon.
It's always fun.
It sure is. Bye-bye.
All right.
That was Rory, folks. That was magnificent, wasn't it? I'm going to take a quick look at what you all are saying, and then we're going to get on to Mr. V, and then I think we'll be getting out of here for today so I can get back to work. I got plenty to do. But that was that story. If you want to have a brief comedic break, it's a short story. If you want to have a brief comedic break, it is available at nowhiteguiltcollectibles.com. And it is also available on Amazon. It's a Kindle book, so you can get it as an e-reader on your e-reader as well. And Kindle books can be downloaded on any electronic device that can accommodate the Kindle app, which I believe is just about everything. So yeah, please, if you'd like a laugh, check it out. It's definitely not what you'd expect, as you could hear in the great Rory's voice. That he did. You're probably thinking, how does AR-15 and groundhogs and how does that all go together in ways that you will be surprised? So yeah, check it out and then let us know what you think. Let me see. I'll refresh this here, and looks like we have somebody there. Heiling says, when can we buy the updated version of your book? Within the printed book, iteration, looks like Donning Armor says 3-minute chat real quick. Okay, we'll have you quickly right before Mr. V, because Mr. V has a little bit more to share than that. So the printed version, iteration 2 of 2nd edition of Go Free, within the next couple of days, available. On Kindle, about another week to 2 weeks. You should be able to download it. Do not buy it again. Let's just re-download your purchase of Go Free 2nd edition, and you should have the second edition, 2nd iteration then. So you don't buy it again. It's like 100 some odd pages more of fantastic information. It looks better, it reads easier, and it's just going to continue to improve from here forward. How can we not reclaim our destiny with all of these victories and so many wonderful people in service to White Wellbeing, and this anonymous financial gifter tonight, and so many people just growing in ways that no one ever expected. There's nothing that can stop us. Absolutely nothing that can stop us. And we will get to, I see Eric is here. We will get to whatever issue, Chili Glitter, hello, that is happening with some chats not being let through by YouTube. We'll address that after the stream today, because we made an adjustment, but the stream was already rolling. It looks like nothing can be changed at this point. All right, over here we have our very dear lady, I Love Jesus Christ, financially gifting $10. Thank you so much. $10 financial gift with the wonderful words, White Wellbeing. There are one of these days, folks, that's going to be, people will be saying that's the most beautiful concept mankind has ever put together, White Wellbeing. We're healthy. Imagine us as a healthy people and how healthy that will make the world, flora and fauna, all peoples. I mean, there's just, the possibilities are endless. Let's swivel back around. Make sure we didn't miss anybody over here. Looks like we haven't. We're going to have a 3-minute call with Donning Armor, and we're going over to Mr. V for a little bit longer than that. Here comes the phone call now, brother. There he is.
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Oh, I'm excellent. I mean, can you believe this man and his wonderful wife? They're taking money out of this, skipping some of the meals out, skipping some of the frivolous expenditures, and putting that money away, and then coming through with a $2,500 financial gift. Just truly remarkable. We have Fornull bringing magnificent champions over recently. We have people creating memes that are fantastic to spread. We have people giving us credit. We just had Greg was streaming yesterday while Jared George and I were on, and he and his panel were giving us credit for all the hard work that we're doing. Thank God. We're slowly, finally getting a little bit of credit here and there, as though it's not as obvious as the sun rising in the east. But I am ecstatic. What is on your mind?
I was actually listening to that show with Greg Johnson, and I heard them. It was a guest that was on his show that gave credit towards you. And right. You know what? We're not in it for the credit, but it is appreciated, isn't it?
Yeah.
You started this, and you've kicked off, and this anti-white, you call them anti-mean pathogens, and the dialectics. You're giving us a language to use to defend ourselves against this anti-white nonsense, and just much love to you, man. It really is working out. You should be super proud. And to the family that donated that large sum, wow. They're showing us all how it's done. I hope to be able to contribute more. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to at the moment. Well, however, one day I will be, and I will not forget you.
Well, you are. Look, there are many ways that we have great champions who give princely sums in their talent, their time, their testimonials, the memes they make, the leaflets they pass out. Sometimes it's dollars. Sometimes it's all of these other things. I mean, you think about the talent of somebody like all the different things Fornull does, but Imminent Rain and Groundhog Fury, and we just have so many magnificent people, and they just come through munificently time and again.
We're bursting at the seams with talent in this community. That much is obvious. I'm constantly astounded by what the community can bring to the table, and whatever it is, it's just amazing, and it's a home for me. It really is, and we're saving people. Like I've told you before, you've saved me, and this community saved me. I was on a downward spiral, and it was the love and affection of you and everybody out there listening right now that brought me back from the brink. And I'm eternally grateful. I really am. God I don't want to take up too much of your time. So my little minuscule contribution, I heard you call into James Hake not too long ago.
Yes.
I don't know if
you were trying to set that up. Yes. And it was a while back. I saw your message. What did you think of that?
I've been working on him for about 2.5 to 3 years.
Wow.
To get him to talk to you. And this isn't even a joke. 2.5 to 3 years to try to get him to have you on his show, or for him to go on your show. I don't care which one, and I was denied. And then I stopped watching his show maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, something like that. But I would always check in here and there, just listen to the phone calls. And, I gave up hope. It was just too much. He told me straight up that he wasn't going to talk to you. So it annoyed me. And I don't particularly agree with everything that they say. So I started getting, ticked off. But then I went to I clicked on his video. I clicked on the comments section because sometimes I'll just listen to phone calls. I don't really listen to them. And I saw Jason, No White Guilt. And my heart stopped. It skipped the beat at this. And I had to listen to that. And now it seems like there's a possibility that it might actually talk to you. Now, I don't know what's going to come of it. My only point here is, and I'll make this brief because I know that you have to get to Mr. B.
Yes.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Persistence. We are making a difference. We are seeing anti-white used everywhere now. You had a caller earlier, or a message earlier saying that it was being used in Germany, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
We've got Tucker Carlson using anti-white. This is us. I mean, it's you, Jason, but
No, it's us. It's us.
yeah. Well, you're the you started pushing it before most of us, and so please don't be so modest. Take some credit for this. You deserve it. And yes, it is us. And I was going to make one last call to James Haig, and I was going to roast him. I was really going to just go all out and roast him as hard as I could. And then I clicked on that last video and I saw your name on the list. And you guys had a pleasant conversation.
Yeah.
There was no problems. You seemed to agree on most things. And he said that he would be willing to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
I've been personally emailing him. I've been on his show. I don't know if you watched the rest of the video or listened to the rest of the podcast, but he does say Donning Armor was the first guy that introduced him to No White Guilt. I mean, I was working at this forever, and we just got to keep trying. It's going to take time. This isn't. There's no immediate fix for this anti-whiteism. However, with the talent and the persistence of all of our people, we're going to get this done. I'm convinced of it. That was just, I mean, it's a small victory, but to me, it was huge. I mean, this is...
No, it's a huge victory. And your story here about this, if I could just jump in for a sec, your story about this, you have been working on him, trying to get him to talk to me. He's got a whole different audience, and therefore, Donning Armor was laying the groundwork, folks, to be able to spread white well-being to all of these people at once. And he worked at him, and he worked at him, and he worked at him, even had Haig say, no, I'm not going to talk with him. But that laid all the groundwork that then ended up resulting in him extending the invitation and looking like excited when he figured out that it was me on the phone. So that is why that worked out the way it did. That is why all of your effort, brother. That is why he ended up extending the invitation to have him on. And he even mentioned Jesse as well. That goes to your efforts. God bless you. Thank you so much for all of that.
Yeah, and hey, you don't have to thank me at all. I'm just trying to do my part, whatever I can do. And Giz the Eunuch and everybody in the chat room, I'm not going to name everyone, but you guys know who you are. We all have these other sources, these other videos and stuff that we watch. We can just drop little seeds everywhere that we go. We can, this is how we build community, how we build it.
Yep.
And I hope that he does have you on. I'm still skeptical because it has been like 3 years.
I know it's hard to believe.
Yeah, but hey, we're all doing this together. We're all in this together. Love to everybody. Love to you, Mr. Köhne. Jason, I'll let you go because I know you got to get on to the next one. And yeah, man, it made my week. Didn't make my day. It made my week to hear you talking to him.
That is wonderful. God bless you. Donning Armor, folks, let's get a big round of raucous emojis for this champion. And all of that tenacity and endurance he had in service to white well-being paid off. We love you. Promethean hails, brother.
To you as well, sir.
All right. Bye-bye. How exciting. I'm going to tell you all a secret. I'm going to tell you all a secret right now. And we're going to grab the great Mr. We're talking about champions. We're talking about people in service to white. We've been making amazing things happen. Mr. V next. But we have so many folks. I wish I could name them all. Nathaniel is here. Roy Danton. Of course, Yiz, Elaine, Brand Danger. I could just read down the list. this is the thing. What Donning Armour did here reminds me a lot about what happened with Tall Kevin and all of his efforts in service to white well-being, the way that he's able to serve. He serves in all the ways that he can. One of those ways was to develop write up a beautiful bumper sticker that its verbiage was simple, consistent with going free, had the website, he put it on a sign, and then you all know what happened with that. Just take a look at Gab. Here you have, Donning Armour, and I'm going to tell you the secret, folks, and right after it. Donning Armour stuck with it for years with Hake, trying to get through to him, trying to have him on me on his show so that I could reach that audience, so that those people could hear if nothing else, the key concepts. I'm throwing them in all the time, and then people are going to walk away, many of them now armed in their contests with those who want to victimize us, armed with the concepts that take down anti-whiteism, just as their victimizers are armed with the concept of racism that is growing increasingly effete and useless, thanks to our efforts as well, all of us, and I think certainly the white positive sphere and white positive endeavors. But he stuck with it, and even to the point where Hake said, "Oh, not going to have him on, not interested for whatever reason." But he was not going to have me on. And then you can see how, I wouldn't say happy, but he was delighted. I was delighted to be able to speak with him. He's a nice guy, and he's a funny guy. I was delighted to be able to speak with him. And he's delighted he wasn't of the mind of someone who was steadfastly and did not want to speak with a particular person. And then there he is in front of them. And in fact, indeed, he gave an invitation to appear on his show, which I would love to do, and speak to his audience as well. So that was something that you could have very easily, if you were Donning Armour, you could have very easily had thought, well, this is not going to go anywhere. All of this effort over this time, all of these going back and touching this person every so often with, hey, don't remember this guy. Hey, here, drop another concept that we use in the lexicon. Again and again, he could have given up. How many times could he have given up? But he didn't. And then when he thought maybe his efforts were never going to come to anything, then suddenly the fruit bears. When you do the work, ladies and gentlemen, the results will be there. Sometimes you'll get lucky. You'll see them sooner. Sometimes it depends on how big of a thing you're trying to do. Donning Armour, I'm sure, was doing that thing and other pursuits at the same time in service to white well-being. And this ended up paying off. It's a wonderful thing. Think of that joy that he feels now, that he invested in time and energy and thought into something that ends up doing something wonderful for our people. Whether they end up realizing, many people they're just going to end up adopting the concepts, and they're not going to realize, and here's where the secret comes in, they're not going to realize how it happened, where it came from, why this change, why is it. They're going to talk about how they'll start looking at the stars again, and they'll say, an age has ended and a new age has arrived. Yeah, it's called the age of white men and women, real men and women of the West, who've had enough, and they've decided to change the world they live in, to put an end to anti-whiteism. That's the age. Well, here's the secret, folks. In many years to come, there will be white people long after we're gone. Maybe some of us will still be alive, but certainly long after the majority of us are gone. And they're going to say, hey, do you know why we don't have to live with anti-whiteism? Because there was this little group of patriots, this little group of champions, this little group of the most amazing people that Western kind has ever produced. And they said, enough is enough. And right now, as I'm saying that rings true to you as something that's going to happen in the future, because now, when you look backward in time, what are you talking about? That little group of people that made it happen. While everybody else was going with the inertia, there was that little group of people that made it happen. That's us, folks. And with that, we will reach out to another one of those champions, hear what he has to say, and then we're going to be signing off for today.
Hey, brother.
There he is, the great Mr. V. First time talking to you since we got your information up on the website. Have you had an opportunity to check it out, how we have it up there?
Oh, I did. I actually heard about it from Slots.
Oh,
because
great.
I got talking to Slots. Baldur reached out to me on email, as did Groundhog Fury. That was amazing. Talking to Groundhog Fury.
Oh, wow.
His art is fantastic.
Yeah.
And, I really admire his art. It just inspires all of us to know that Prometheus Rising is going to have artwork. I mean, eventually we're going to get great things like the Prometheus Rising opera. And it all started with champions like that.
Yeah, precisely. And then all of our folks will be going. Everybody who's anybody will go there. And they'll be wondering. They'll have to say, where did this come from? And then they're going to be looking to our little community who's changing the world. This is amazing. It's really amazing to be a part of history.
Absolutely. And the great champions are going to be the great opera singers, for example, are going to be formed there in the same way that Luciano might have been formed by Giuseppe Verdi operas. They're going to be formed by Prometheus Rising. Hey, you remember when that guy or that woman starred in the first showing of Prometheus Rising? Wasn't that amazing?
Oh my gosh.
Or great directors when Crucible comes out on film.
Oh my gosh.
All of this and more is going to happen.
Yes, I love that prediction. Yes, indeed, it is, because we're going to make it happen. We've
Absolutely, yeah.
So what do you have? What do you have to talk about tonight, brother? We want to hear what you have to say.
Well, first thing, when you were talking about almost being injured, I was almost sweating bullets for a while there, brother.
Oh,
be as careful as you can. Please stay as safe and be as careful as you can. And if possible, hire a professional.
Yeah.
I know you're more than competent, right? But I mean, safety is always first. Health is always first. We can't afford to lose you. We don't want to lose you. We love you. So please stay as safe as you can.
I absolutely will. Thank you very much for those words, those sentiments. That was a close call.
Yeah. Oh, that sounded like a close call.
Yeah, I'll be extra careful from now on. Well, the good Lord is with us. I mean, it seems like every time we turn around, there's something else that happens that works out to our benefit. That the anti-whites would very much like to have go the other direction. So I think there is a moment when you look at history holistically, you can see that there are moments when there does seem. And when I'm excluding where clearly there are elements behind the scenes that want to achieve certain things, and then they're feeding things into the, I guess, the more widely known or broadly known narrative. But there does seem to be, excluding those things, moments when there is a time for something, and it's just, there's nothing stopping it, and that's us. It's our time. And there's nothing the anti-whites will be able to. I mean, you see every time we have a dust up with anybody, we always come out smelling like beautiful white roses, to amend that saying, every single time.
Yeah, absolutely, because we are the force of order. European man has been the force of order on this planet. And there are two universal forces. There's one of entropy, but then there's also one of order, one that wants things to be held together, wants things to stick together, wants things to remain solid, to grow. And we represent that force of growth. And anti-whites have only themselves to blame. I mean, they are the catalyst for white well-being. They have only themselves to blame. Stop being anti-white. Your problems will go away.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, it's very simple. They just have to stop being anti-white. They won't stop, and well, that's why we're here. But very quickly, brother, I wanted to mention thank you for putting that up on the website. And I sent you 2 other files. I thought that these wouldn't be appropriate to put up, but seeing the way that the website Genius put them up in PDF, that makes it accessible. So if you want, please upload those 2 other files that I sent you as well.
All right.
That's all extra info that people can use when they make videos or articles, etc. And making videos is the next phase. I'd like to make some videos about Saad, break down his defamation of you, which is very easy. Anyone can do it as well. There's a specific section on the notes all about Saad's defamation of Mr. Köhne. And I give you the exact quotes that you can use to turn all of that around on him.
Now, I want folks to understand, because this is really, this is where we have these wonderful collaborations taking place all the time. People doing this up there. Don't wait, folks, for somebody to, to tap you on your shoulder. Be a self-starter. So many of these folks are. Mr. V jumped right in, made this happen. He did something that we don't normally do for each other in Western kind, and that's to defend each other the way these other groups do. It's a marvelous thing. It's a wonderful thing that they can do it. We have to learn how to do it. And he saw that I was being attacked, and he jumped right there onto the in front of that attack and went to town on digging up all of this information. He's done a massive amount of research. We have some of that up on the website, and we're going to have more. As you hear, we have 2 more files to put up. Now, here's what you can do. This is not just about you folks. You decide, well, you want to make a video or you want to write an article, and you go over to the website, nowhiteguilt.org. You click on the tab for this information from Mr. V, and it's about Gad Saad and the defamation against me, and etc. This is an opportunity to bring White Wellbeing to millions. Gad Saad is getting filthy rich off of Western kind. He is being promoted across all of regime media. Everywhere you look, this guy is going. If you make the video, or if you write the article, who knows what it is, or enough videos, or enough articles, you work with this by a collaboration with Mr. V by way of accessing all of this great research that he's done. He's going to be making videos too, and so you can take inspiration from that. You then end up in a scenario where you, by way of this subject of the dust up between me and Gad Saad, you then, by way of that dust up, bring going free, at least the 5 key concepts, to the general population, and who knows how many you reach by doing so. This is how you turn these things into something that radically benefits us as a people, and therefore you as an individual member of our people. Remember, we are suffering as individuals because our group is being attacked. So there is no way to escape this any longer. White people have escaped it for a long time, and they excused that escape with by lauding and really turning ideas like individualism into our highest virtues. Look, the individualism that we have as a people is genetic. It's not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about us suddenly not being individualistic. We have to use our minds to think as a collective, to be a collective, because in a world of collectives, individualism is suicide. That is how we've gotten to where we are today. We are the agents of change here. We're bringing that new dawn to our brothers and sisters. This could be your opportunity to collab with Mr. V. He doesn't even have to know your name. Maybe he'll end up knowing your name because of how many great things you do with the material that he produced. So let's make it happen. Your name is out there, and your destiny is calling you. You can be a true champion to change the world we live in. And this is the thing, and I'm going to pass it back to Mr. V. This is the thing, folks. If you don't have this tool, these concepts that work coming right out of the book Go Free and everything we talk about here, you have nothing to wield against the regime, against the billionaires, against the anti-white oligarchs. But you do have the tools that actually injure, undermine, and can destroy all the anti-whiteism that they've built. They're already as humble as we are. Some of us don't have homes. As humble as, and think about what a beautiful story that is. But as humble as we are, the average normal folks out in the world saying enough is enough, and even people who own palaces can't put an end, can't put a stop to what we are doing. Think about that for a moment. If you want to have real power, you're not going to have power by imitating the villain in an anti-whites movie. That is just fronting. That is just LARPing. If you want to have real power that can actually shake the foundations of the regime, all anti-white regime all around the world, then it can be found in the pages and the lexicon of dialectics of Go Free. But Mr. V, what was your next point, brother?
As always, you're totally correct, brother. The villain doesn't have a villain's journey. He's just a character in the hero's journey, in the hero's story. If we stay in the anti-white narrative, we're just going to be an antagonist character in their story, which they're writing, meaning they get to decide how it ends. And it ends with our extermination. It ends with white erasure. And we should not be okay with that. We get to decide things. Absolutely, brother. We offer our people an unshakable morality. We offer them culture creation. We offer them the chance to connect with their biospirit. We offer them potential, the likes of which they've never seen. We offer them connection. We offer them brotherhood. Everything they've lost, we offer them and more.
And precisely. Absolutely. And speaking about there is no villain's journey. It is so true. That's magnificent. In fact, next time we have you on, if you don't have much more to share, I'd like for you spoke about that maybe 3 calls ago. Maybe
3, yeah, about 3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, maybe speak on that again for the folks, because I think that's really powerful.
Oh, I'd love to, brother. Yeah, I've actually been doing a little bit more work on that. I want to expand that concept of connecting the hero's journey to going free, because I think this is a huge part of why going free works. And I've also been kind of working on an outline of why going free works. You've mentioned before that it would be great if, some of our educated people, some of the educated people in the white sympathetic sphere talked about going free and broke down why it works. Unfortunately, no one has done that, but I think it's okay, because I think those of us here, we can do that. And a great reason why going free works is because of the hero's journey. People want to be heroes. No one wants to be a villain, right? And it's also out of line with the biospirit of our people. And people want consistency. We're mentally, for our psychological well-being, we crave consistency and we crave an identity. No, we could never win as antagonists in the anti-white narrative because we would always self-sabotage.
Right.
No one wants to be a villain. You wouldn't believe it.
Precisely. Yeah, it is self-sabotage. Every act as the villain in their story is an act of self-sabotage. That's a beautiful way to put it. Precisely.
And yet it does, in that self-sabotage, it isn't too crazy to say that being an antagonist in the anti-white narrative is connected to things like addictions, for example, because at the core of addiction is also self-sabotage. What the addict gets at the end of the day is incapacity. So you don't have to go out and fulfill your dream. Oh, that's right. You're LARPing as a character in the anti-white narrative. You don't have to have that talk with your girlfriend or at the dinner table about white well-being. You don't have to speak out. You don't have to form an entirely new identity. You don't have to pick up the lexicon and our dialectics. You don't have to do all of the work. It's the work that they're running away from. It's, I think it's self-sabotage. I think a lot of people are playing the character, the antagonist in the anti-white narrative, because it's their form of self-sabotage. I don't have to do any work. I can just keep making podcasts in my network about this event in World War II all the time, and I don't have to do any work. It doesn't have to be serious. I don't actually have to recapture the destiny of our people. I don't have to become a hero. There's a lot of work that goes into all of that. But when you decide to play that character, well, you can just drop all of that. It's safe, it's secure, no one's going to bother you, there's no confrontation. And I think it's self-sabotage.
Beautifully put. And I think on that should be the final thought of the call today, because that is, acting as the villain in their story is an act of self-sabotage every single time. That is so magnificently put, brother. Of course it would come from Mr. V. Well said.
Thank you, brother. Very quick,
Yeah.
I know you got to go. May I quickly pay respects to some of the Prometheans in our community?
Please, yes. That'd be magnificent.
So I spoke with the Alternative Voices Alternative Voices portal. My apologies. And I recommend that people sub to his Odysee. If I'm not mistaken, his YouTube channel was shut down. There's been issues with BitChute. So Alternative Voices portal, go to his Odysee and subscribe to his Odysee. He does great work. There's got to be so much work that goes into archiving all those clips and everything else he does for White Wellbeing.
Yes.
I love Masumi Rabbit's drawing. I thought that was fantastic.
Yes.
Big thanks to Groundhog Fury, Baldur as well. I reached out to Baldur, and I'll be joining him so we can do translations. I love Elaine Sabatino's crafts. I think they're fantastic. It's beautiful when a woman does arts and crafts, very feminine. And of course, the great Brand Danger. And also my buddy Hans Hugren, who does the Viking series for School of the West. I recommend, brother, if you want him, if you want to talk to him about being on the after party, I think he'd be a great guest. So I've known him for quite a few years. Great guy. He definitely has my stamp of approval there. I'd recommend him as a guest if you would, if you're looking for after party guests.
Awesome.
And finally, every single person in the chat, thank you. I know you're all doing such great work, and you deserve all the credit. And one more thing, brother, I don't know if you can include articles. When you read out these articles, I don't know if you can include them in the the YouTube details, because we like to go and do outreach on those. I remember one time you were talking about someone who posted something in Vancouver. I found the original article, and then I got into some interesting conversation with anti-whites there.
All right.
But if you can post the articles, it helps us to do outreach.
I will do that. That's a great recommendation. All right. Absolutely.
Thank you for everything you do, brother.
Thank you, brother, for everything you do, have done, and will do. God bless you. Promethean hails to you. Our champion, one of our greatest champions, folks, Mr. V.
Promethean hails, brother. Bye-bye.
I mean, Promethean hails. Bye-bye. Wow. Glorious. That is epic. Let me see if we can get this. Okay. Make sure we didn't miss anybody over here. We're going to be rolling out here in just a moment. I did want to mention, did anybody get at this just came back to me, the beginning of the gathering, we were asking about who carved this beautiful, it was Naderific. It was Naderific who did it by hand, ladies and gentlemen. So many, another magnificent champion of many, many talents. We have so many of those. So many, and I wish I could. We need somebody who could just say all the names of every single person who's been doing so many wonderful things. I don't know. We might be here for quite a little while, but it would be worth it. And we do celebrate each other, because there's no single person on a stage, and the rest of us are just watching. We're shoulder to shoulder, and when we make it happen, we celebrate each other and applaud each other. It's not about there definitely isn't a situation where everybody gets a turn to be. No. If you make it happen, we're gonna put you up on our shoulders, and that's how we're gonna recapture our destiny. There are a couple things here. We saw Full Moon Ancestry, not another great champion that was with us over the course of the night, and just looking at some of the notes that I had here, we're going to be, I'll go back and I'll grab these links and I'll put those in the description. There's the great Lovely Porridge is with us. Just think about for a moment as I slide through the live chat to see if there are any questions or comments for me. I don't want to miss any, and also make sure we didn't miss any questions or comments associated with a financial gift. Okay, good. We're blank. And just sliding through here, you have remember that that we are just in a story. And the question is, when you're going to be in a story, that's what life is. The question is, when you're going to be in a story, it's whose story? The anti-whites have a story about us, and we have a story about us. We choose to be in our own story. We choose to be the hero in our story rather than the villain in theirs. White Rider is one of those champions. He writes here, the difference between us and the anti-whites is the anti-whites don't offer redemption for being, quote, racist, but we offer redemption for those who have been taught to be anti-white. Beautifully written, magnificent. Magnificent, brother. I deeply appreciate that insight right there, that we do offer redemption to those who have been anti-white, to those who have become the villain in the anti-white narrative. And if you ever were curious, if you ever wondered whether or not, and this is something you can share with your friends and family and strangers, as you know, something perhaps you should share with them. If you're ever curious about whether or not this is just a story, as we've said all along, the anti-white narrative, and that its intent is to lead us into a bloody conclusion, a biological, white erased conclusion for our people. Notice only this. When you were much younger than you are today, much, much younger, maybe even a child, look back to those days, and you'll recall the kind of claims the anti-whites made against Western kind. And you will recall the kind of demands that they made for compensation for those claims. Well, if this wasn't just a story, you know that since then, that time to this, maybe you're 80, maybe you're 50, maybe you're 20, I don't know. But from that time to this, Western kind has been victimized, bled profusely by anti-whites. And the tools of that victimization, very often non-white people and people of other, victim groups. I mean, it's including plenty of white people as well. In fact, in the non-white groups, you have white people who pretend to be non-white. They're anti-white. They're running away from their identity. They hate the white race. Those tools of our victimization have become immensely empowered, immensely wealthy. They spit at you from their Aston Martins. They flick you off from their Ferraris. They sneer down at you and complain about your power from positions like President of the United States of America. Their grievances haven't gotten any smaller despite all of the bleeding and suffering and surrendering of our people. Their grievances have gotten more numerous. Their demands for compensation haven't decreased, even after everything across Western civilization being turned over to them. Their demands for compensation have increased. The end of this book, The Anti-White Narrative, is bloody. The demands for compensation grow as you get deeper into this story, no matter how much you give. The enumeration of their grievances proliferates. No matter how many pages of history have been combed through, no matter how many stories have been told, no matter how much has been surrendered, you have only one choice, and that is to go free of the anti-white narrative. And together, with these concepts that work, we recapture our destiny. I love every single one of you. Let's go free.